everybody know who I want next. I want Terrence Crawford next.
You're going to make that happen?
Huh?
You're going to make that happen?
Oh, definitely. That's the fight that I want. That's the fight everybody else want. Like I said, I'm going to get these straps and I'm going to go over there and take his shit too.
All right. Errol, congratulations. Terrific fight this evening.
Thank you, man. Now, strap season, y'all know what time it is, baby. Terrence, I'm coming for that motherfucking belt.
All right.
I'm not catching fades anymore. Gotta keep my hands clean when they come for the board. Keep it smooth like a dawn, making moves in the dark. Cause I learned how to swim in the pool full of sharks. Now they coaches, cause they can't read all his motions. How the kid never switch codes, but he code switch focus. Staring down your team with a frozen, ice cold look that could end the summer solstice. Cause I'm more like the top dog. Keep on running game in the gang will it cost y'all. I be calling plays from a plane while I'm off court. But we ain't the same, you a lame, I'm a mob star. Actually, I'm a top dog on a stat sheet. Off court, but I call plays for the athlete. Laughing when the cop cars try to catch me. Cause I rolled off in a taxi. Put my feet up, I'm relaxing. Singing Figaro with no accent. While I pull strings from the streets and do it all with a straight face, I'm the kingpin. Top dog, top flow, boss mode, I'm the kingpin. Showstopper, top dog, God vibes, I'm the kingpin. They know I'm a dog and a beast, man. Yeah, I keep the peace with a peace, man. I ain't got no time for appeasement. Why would I respond to a pawn? I'm the... Hold up.
If I let my dogs off the leash, then you might want to get out of Dodge by the evening. Honestly, think it's not the blood and the beef. If they don't leave anything behind at the evening.
I can see you soft, ever thought about retreating. If you never have, then they'll give you a reason. Better watch your tone, lose your bass when you speaking. Underneath the mask is the wrath of a... When you learn how to smile in their face, then go cutthroat. Then they want to call you a con when the blood cold. I remember starving while y'all had a truckload. Now I'm with the mob with the call and the gusto. I'm a top dog on a stat sheet. Off court, but I call plays for the athlete. Laughing when the cop cars try to catch me. Cause I rolled off in a taxi. Put my feet up, I'm relaxing. Singing Figaro with no accent. While I pull strings from the streets and do it all with a straight face, I'm the kingpin. Top dog, top flow, boss mode, I'm the kingpin. Showstopper, top dog, God vibes, I'm the kingpin.
What is happening? Yes, sir, man. This weekend, we got it going on. We finally got it going on. No more waiting. No say no more belly aching about fights that's not going to take place. We got Eric Lubin, you know what I'm saying? Erickson Lubin versus Vergil Ortiz. And even though the press conference isn't all that exciting, but what is exciting, what's going on, how you say that? Neville's, and what's going on, J Boxing? SJ Boxing, what's going on, bro? Good to see you out there. You know what I'm saying? Hope everything's going good for you this weekend and y'all able to see the fight. Man, I'm amped because this is good competition right here. This is what we always belly aching about. You know what I'm saying? This is one of them fights that that's going to change the landscape of 154. You know what I'm saying? Even though these guys don't have belts, we know their place, we know their quality. We know that they're going to move the needle as far as weeding out, you know what I'm saying, who's the best at 154. And that's what's important. You know, we need to get back to what boxing's all about. With all this drama and shit going on around boxing, you know, nobody cares about all that. You know what I'm saying? Let's get back on the trajectory of moving up the ladder. You know what I'm saying? Seeing who is the best at these damn weight divisions. You know what I'm saying? Among the talent that we have. And we're getting far from that with all the drama that's going around boxing. It's like the fighters' personal lives are taking over more than the sport that we love, right? So, you know what I'm saying? I'm excited about this fight because it's an actual fight. You know what I'm saying? That we always wanted to see. Two guys around the same. I ain't gonna say they're the same skill level because I do believe that Eric Lubin has way more skills than Vergil Ortiz, but I think Vergil Ortiz is just more durable. He's the stronger fighter. Um, but Eric Lubin, you know what I'm saying, got so many skills, man. Sometimes, I think he just forget, what I'm saying, to use what he got in the fight. And you know what I'm saying? That's what makes this shit so exciting because Eric Lubin, he's not exactly a journeyman yet. He's like, you know what I mean? It's like he's at that one stage before he lose so many fights that he just don't believe in himself no more. And so I think that Lubin is just he got such goddamn potential if he could just get over that hump from making bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Yes, sir. This is yes, J Boxing. This is one of them fights with boxing fans that real boxing fans live for. We don't care about all that damn personal stuff that's going on, behind these boxing lives. We know how good they are, and if you've been following Vergil Ortiz from 147, you know the mother good, man. He's powerful. You know what I'm saying? He's put that pressure. He's the dude that's gonna make the fight. Eric Lubin, he'll make the fight too, but he's more like he'll go with the flow of the fight. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's dangerous because he got power. That fool got power. I think he's underrated because of how he fights. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes he'll fight off the back foot a lot, and but he can press forward. It's just that he's a lot more vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? When he goes forward, Vergil Ortiz is too, but he's just a little bit more durable when he goes forward because he puts such power and he commits to his shot. So that's one thing I like about Vergil Ortiz too because he does commit. He's trying to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? And Erickson Lubin, he's more, he a boxer. He's got more tactical. He's more strategic because he don't put everything into one shot. You know what I'm saying? He knows how to mix it up, change it up speeds. That's why I say he got more skills than Vergil Ortiz. And not that Vergil Ortiz don't do the same thing. It's just that he's more of a finisher. He's trying to come in there and knock your ass out from the start. He's not, he's trying to break you down too, but you have to hit Vergil with something in order for him to stop being more strategic because he's gonna test your ass out first. First, he's gonna come out there and try to knock your head off. And if you can deal with that, then Vergil, and then you don't hit him with something that knock his ass to make him, slow down a little bit, he's still gonna come at you, but he's just gonna be more tactical about it. But he's gonna come at you in the same way. He's not gonna like fight off his back foot, which is something I noticed about Vergil Ortiz. Now, can he fight off his back foot? He can. He can fight off his back foot, but he's not as dangerous fighting off his back foot as Erickson Lubin is. So I think that Erickson Lubin goddamn experience is going to show in this fight. Um, can Erickson Lubin overcome the durability of Vergil Ortiz? That is, and you have to question Vergil Ortiz's durability too because we've seen him go down two times in that Boca Chip fight, right? And he can't be hurt. He can't be hurt. But Erickson Lubin find those holes in Vergil Ortiz's attack. You know, what I'm saying, moving forward without getting hurt because Erickson Lubin chin is kind of questionable too because you hit him in the right spot, man. Erickson Lubin, he be looking a little shaky out there. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him get wobbled a few times. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of crazy. What's going on? What's going on? Thomas Hill in the building. He says, great brother. He says, "Fool, what's happening, bro?" Let's see. Yes, sir. And so I'm thinking it's hard to pick this one. This is a pick'em. This is actually a pick'em fight. If you think you really know what's going to happen in this fight, then you full of shit. You know what I'm saying? You are full of shit because both of these fighters are so goddamn good around the same. They're around the same level because they got things that nullify each other. You know what I'm saying? Because if Vergil could take what Erickson Lubin dish out, it's going to be a hard night for Lubin, right? If this is one of those nights where Vergil, you hit him and he just starts surging up, and you know how Vergil, he's kind of like the Incredible Hulk. The more damage you give him, you know what I'm saying, the more harder he comes, and that could work for him or against him because Erickson Lubin is a sharpshooter. You know what I'm saying? If he come in there trying to surge on him and Erickson find that right timing and that right punch, shit. I could see him knocking Vergil ass out. You know, say if he underestimate Erickson Lubin like that, because you can't just run up in there on this dude. And I think that Erickson Lubin, man, I think he's really prepared. He knows that this is his last, saying this is like that last fight before, saying people start thinking of you as just a journeyman in the sport. And I think he don't want to become that. And that makes he's dangerous. He has nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. He's not a champion, so he don't have to defend no belt. But one thing about it, Vergil Ortiz, he's just like Jerome Bucinich, he's got that up and coming. He has a name, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the top fighters with a reputation, right? For toughness. So and he, even what makes it kind of arguable because he kind of looked kind of vulnerable in that Bokuchuk fight. I thought he looked vulnerable, and that kind of gave me a little bit more leeway towards Erickson Lubin because how he got dropped 2 times by Bokuchuk, and then Bokuchuk got his ass beat by Brian Adams and shit. I know Brian Adams come from a heavier weight class, and he fights nothing like Erickson Lubin. Of course, we know the triangle. The triangle offense theory. That shit don't work. But Bokuchuk Bokuchuk ain't all that. Is what I'm saying. He ain't all that. He's a wood chopper now. He's kind of tough, but he was able to drop Vergil Ortiz 2 times, right? So if Bokuchuk could do that, you know what I'm saying? And you saw Erickson Lubin drop Sebastian Fundora, so he got power. He got power. So I'm looking at all of that. I'm saying, well, maybe Virgil come in there with that bullshit, trying to overpower this man. You know what I'm saying? He run into the wrong punch. Shit, it could be lights out for Vergil Ortiz if he underestimate. If we get that Lubin that's focused and you know what I'm saying, and he's offensively minded, man, this is going to be an incredible fight because I can't really call it, man. You know what I'm saying? I can't really see who's going to come out on top because you would think Vergil Ortiz is the man because of the momentum and because of him being active, and then you kind of see Erickson Lubin, who arguably lost um, the fight with Jose Ramos. You can't. To me, it's like, you know what I'm saying? And Jose Ramos, he didn't, he's not a hard puncher like Vergil Ortiz. So it's kind of like they both kind of played to the level of the competition that they was fighting. And it's kind of hard to get a gauge on this shit. It's like, damn, this is a true 50-50 fight. Um, if you look at how they performed in their last fights, and you're just like, damn, this is a good ass fight. This is a good ass fight. What's going on, 2 cents in the building? What's happening, girl? Um, so looking at how they perform, looking at how Lubin, you know what I'm saying? I was listening to him, talking shit, what I'm saying, on the stage. I'm saying? It's not an exciting press conference, it's just more of a professional type thing. Lubin is a well-spoken uh fighter. He's a well-spoken fighter. I like how he comb his head and shit, you know what I'm saying? That's big numbers in my book, I'm saying? He comes presentable. He don't be talking crazy and shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like the dude is respectable, man, you know what I'm saying? But you know, sometimes you got to be ignorant, you know what I'm saying, to be good, you know what I'm saying? If you speaking too proper English and shit, you're probably gonna get your ass whipped. Probably gonna get your ass whipped, you know what I'm saying? If you putting sentences together and shit like you're educated, you know what I'm saying, something wrong with that. And then you got Vergil Ortiz, he's just, he just I don't know. We got an era of we got an era of fighters that just want to be, they don't want to be all crazy and stuff. They just want to be professional. They flat tone. They're not trying to sell the fight by doing crazy antics. You know what I'm saying? Like because there's a way to do it without seeming fake, like Keyshawn Davis, right? You know what I'm saying? Trying to jump over motherfuckers' back, trying to intimidate them psychologically. Let's just keep it real. In this day and age, nobody got such skill where they're gonna just intimidate a motherfucker. Where they, especially in a press conference, and I like the way these guys kind of conduct themselves, but I did want a little bit more shit talking. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more, what I'm saying? I'm gonna beat your ass, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? I got more skills, something. Something. You know what I'm saying? And this was one of them press conferences, just like, they were just happy to have the opportunity to fight each other. And that's okay too. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because we know these two fighters. If you're a boxing fan and you're an insider and you've been watching their careers, you know that how good this fight is gonna be. This shit is gonna be a banger. What's going on? He says you heard Lubin duck boots. Oh man, the whole duck conversation, man. Us is content creators and box. We know that duck shit is just it's business. And you know that too, since you say that all the time yourself. The duck thing ain't it. To say that in the way boxing is going now, ducking does not exist anymore. It's like fighters are able to do what they want to do. So I don't even see why it's an argument anymore, to tell you the truth. Because as long as fighters able, and they done shut up boxing fans from like really talking about that kind of stuff, because fighters fight who they want to fight. So why is it there a conversation about who's ducking who when fighters can do what the hell they want to do? Boxing fans ain't got nothing to say about that. They're always saying somebody is ducking somebody, right? They were saying that Boots was ducking Brian Norman. Then they say Brian Norman is ducking Boots. Then they say Devin Haney was ducking Boots, or and Boots was ducking Devin Haney. So you never know. It depends on who you're a fan of, right? In boxing, who's ducking who, right? They can have all the information there. um, I think it's what $1.7 million that was offered. Boots offered Brian Norman Jr. Then all of a sudden it's like he wanted more money or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it really don't matter. It all comes down to what these fighters want to fight for. We can't make them fight for the money that's offered. You know what I'm saying? Especially if and he ended up getting what, three something million waiting on Dev. Ended up getting twice the damn amount that just by waiting out a better fight. So how can you damn really argue? Saying it was it a really a duck, or was good for him to not get his ass knocked out or wore down, you know what I'm saying, and possibly lose to Devin because he fought Boots first, and he got more money for less wear and tear on his ass. So it's just hard to say, you know what I'm saying. So that's why I try to stay out the duck conversation thing, because now it don't mean nothing. It don't really mean nothing because fighters can do what the hell they want to do now. And boxing fans, they are reprimanded by other content creators for talking about ducking and all this shit. So it's like, it's like, why even talk about who's ducking when the business takes priority? You know what I'm saying? So oh man, you can't what I'm saying, you can't criticize that man for going for a bag and all this shit. So I try to stay away from the ducking thing, even though I do hear the rumors though too, since I be hearing it. You know what I'm saying? But I just pay that shit no attention. You know what I'm saying? Because it go either way. Soon as you come out and you start talking about this person duck, oh man, well he will make it. They lowballed him. They only offered him 650 million, not million, $1,000 for the fight. So who wants to fight for, if you get lowballed, say who wants to fight for that? You know what I'm saying? Especially if you get more, if you think you deserve more. So it's a business thing to me when it comes to this ducking thing. And just like Lubin was supposed to fight, he was supposed to fight Backram, right? And Backram, he's a big name, he's a champion, but he had an opportunity to fight somebody with a bigger name, which was Vergil Ortiz Jr. So I think that's a better opportunity, because if you get Vergil Ortiz Jr. on your name, then you building your name up for bigger money. You know what I'm saying? Because it covers his status, right? Because of Vergil Ortiz Jr.'s status, right? Nobody gives a shit about Backroom, or nobody gives, even though they got a belt. Nobody really gives a shit about Sebastian Fundora. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the way you build up your name. Even though he beat Tim Zoo, he beat some good names. It's just that Vergil Ortiz come in with, he got it's his perception is that he's going to have a belt and he's going to win. Oh shit. Let me see. They done sent me. God damn it. Yeah, I knew they would do this. Hold on. Let me see. You son of a bitches. Hold on. Let me see. I'm just checking to see what the hell they're gonna send me. Let me see. So yeah, let me see. He says, no, he said, let's see. Mike Rhythm says, he said, I don't believe it because Boo said he wanted a tune up, and Lubin no tune up. Well, that's on him. We see, you see what happens when you don't get the tune up, right? You can't go back and say, that you didn't have a tune up and you wasn't ready, right? It's like you got all, you know what I'm saying? I would suggest that you take a tune up if you're gonna fight a big fight. You know what I'm saying? Because we see what happens, you know what I'm saying? If you can't fight to your if you can't fight for your full potential, then don't accept the motherfucking fight. You know what I'm saying? Don't come in there with that I don't need no damn tune up type of time and hold on, y'all. Don't come in there with you don't need no tune up and you do. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. What are these people? Let me see. I gotta wait for it to pop up. Install trailer for all live loads. This is a live. Okay. So, it's commendable. Don't get me wrong. It's courageous, you know what I'm saying, to go into a fight without a tune up and you know what I'm saying, but you can't complain about the outcome either when you don't have a tune up. You know what I'm saying? I love my boy Erickson Jr., but shit, you know what I'm saying? He should have took that Keith Thurman fight. He says no. He says no, he's not Boots. No, he said he's not Boots unless he's got a belt. Says he's not Boots unless he's not the best fighting. He says, yeah, I'm using the term duck loosely. Okay. But you know what I'm saying, two cents. You know what I'm saying. This duck thing has gotten out of control. And anytime the business take a fighter in another direction, we call it a duck. When we don't know all the details of the business, you know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to fight. Nobody wants to go in there and get their ass whipped for less money, right? Especially if you're fighting somebody who's going to actually, have an effect on your career. And you know what I'm saying? People would say that nobody knows who Brian Norman Jr. is. He should have accepted the 1.7 million. But look what happened. Is what I'm trying to tell you. You know, say he waited and got even double that shit, right? Damn near double. You know what I'm saying? The money that he would have fought Boots for. So, but then they were still calling Boot. They called Boots a duck, right? Even though he made them a low ball offer. To me, I think that if you got confidence, whether you take a loss or you go in there and you win, you know, what I'm saying, you got to take a risk, especially when you're not known. You know, what I'm saying, just gathering up belts and being a belt holder. You know, what I'm saying, that don't mean you that dude. You know what I'm saying? Just because you grab a belt don't really mean shit. You know, especially when you done fought two names that nobody never heard of. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't put yourself in position to make more a bigger bag. But it worked out for Brian Norman Jr. Right? He got the Devin Haney fight, so now he's making that. So that's why I don't get into the whole duck thing because it's more business than it is about trying not to get that competitive fight, right? It's more about business. So we don't know which one it is. Backroom is trouble. You know what I'm saying? He's a big dude. He can box a little bit. Um, but his name don't resonate like Vergil Ortiz Jr. Let's face it, you're going to get more credit if you fight Vergil Ortiz Jr. Than if you fight Backroom, right? Because Vergil Ortiz Jr., the way he's seen as the more dominant fighter. He's the fighter with more prominence on his name. And so I can understand why. And plus, Erickson Lubin was going to get more money because whatever system who backs Backroom, they didn't have it set up to where Lubin had the kind of money that he wanted. So I think he was getting more money. They offered him, Golden Boy offered him more money, and he liked the system um, that was behind Golden Boy. So he knew he was going to get his money over there. And that had see, that's what I mean about the business. I don't think he ducked him. I just think he went to where, he was more comfortable with the business. And I think if Backroom would have had, the cut or the split, whatever would have been a little bit more decent, we would have saw that fight. Because if you know anything about Erickson Lubin, he ain't no punk. You know what I'm saying? Win or lose, Erickson Lubin to get in that ring against anybody. So, and I believe that. You know what I'm saying? I believe that. I think it's more business when it comes to Erickson Lubin, and I think this is he's settled himself into a really good fight. I think it was worth it. I think it was worth it to fight Vergil Ortiz. It was damn sure worth it. He says ducking is casual talk. He says I'm interested in boxers who strive to be the best in their division. And listening to Oscar De La Hoya talk that shit, saying he comes from, Oscar De La Hoya is one of them kind of fighters. Oscar De La Hoya wasn't ducking shit in his time. He didn't care if you were black, white, Hispanic. He was gonna try to give everybody the same ass beating. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I loved. I don't know how Oscar ended up being this weasel of a promoter. Um, Coming from how he fought, you thought you would think he would have more integrity, but I guess fight. You know what I'm saying? He was an honorable fighter, but he's a weasel as a promoter. But he is so high on Vergil Ortiz right now. You know what I'm saying? Because Vergil Ortiz is one of those kind of fighters that just want to jump in the ring, you know what I'm saying? And he really wants to test himself, you know what I'm saying, against the best. And I think this is a step up fight. I consider this a step up fight for Vergil Ortiz Jr. Um, I mean, Bokuchuk was good, Maginov good, but are they better than Erickson Lubin? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Which was I really wish I could have saw Erickson Lubin fight those dudes, but maybe if he beats Virgil Ortiz, we'll get to see that. This is such a good division right now, and they're all kind of like on the same skill level. That we got to see these fights, and this is one of the fights that's going to like figure that out, like weed out. You know what I'm saying? One more name off the list of fighters in the division. We already seen Tim Zoo get his ass beat. You know what I'm saying? We are, you know what I'm saying? We starting to see these fighters starting to, fight the cream of the crop, the names that's at the top before they get old and before they get, you know what I'm saying, they start falling off on their career. And they starting to like really clash. So I think that's why Virgil is getting so much credit because he is trying to fight some of the best up in the damn division. He says a low reward, high reward. He says, let's see who dares to be great and fight him. He said Backham is a good fighter. Yes, he is. He is a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? But not too many people, unless they're gonna offer like some good money, you know what I'm saying? Because he don't really have a name like that. Unless he offers some good money um for the fight, so it's gonna be hard for him to find some opponents who want to take that chance of taking a loss against him. You know what I'm saying? Because he really don't have a name like that. Nobody don't know who Batra Matalev is. He said stop with this tune-up shit. Yep. I mean, if they want to take it, you know what I'm saying? I think it's good for them. I think it's good to take a tune-up, especially if you leaping divisions before you fight a top fight. I think what Jerron Booth Ennis is good, and a lot of people look at that like Jerron Booth Ennis isn't really confident that he could take a punch at 154. They're saying that Jerron Booth Ennis ain't that dude because he didn't just go straight into a Vergil Ortiz Jr. fight. I think what he did was smart. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know if you're really that good if they're saying that he's fighting lesser competition, and they're saying that's really going to hurt him at the end of the day. They're saying that's really going to hurt him at the end of the day. Hold on, let me see. Let me check my little schedule real quick, y'all. Let me see. So 8 o'clock tomorrow, 250 miles. Let's see. Okay, Express Container Summit. Let's see, 8 o'clock, 1 p.m. I'm sorry, they just dropped the damn load on me. Let me see, y'all. Hold on. 8:30. So 8 o'clock tomorrow, 250 miles. Okay, I gotta get out of here by 1. Let's see. 8 a.m. Okay. So 9:50. Okay. So sorry, I had to check the load. Let me see. Said tune-ups are not part of high-level professional boxing. What you mean? What you mean tune-ups ain't a part of a high-level professional boxing? What you mean? I mean, I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Hold on, y'all. Hold on for a second. My bag. I'm getting calls and everything. He says, he said, don't underestimate Lubin. Hey, you right on point with that, man. Lubin is no joke, bro. I mean, he don't look like the type of dude that's intimidating. When you look at him, you know what I'm saying? He don't come across, even though when he was trying to fight Jermell Charlo, he was talking mad shit, bro. I mean, when he came in, I'm talking about he was talking cash money shit. And it was wild, bro. It was wild the way he was talking shit. I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, so, but he's so skilled, man. It's just he makes bad decisions when he's up front. He'll make some good moves. He got great skills, and once he get a person hurt, that's when he start making bad decisions. Like when he dropped Sebastian Fundora in the fight. The fight was so goddamn good, going back and forth. I've never seen anybody handle Sebastian Fedora like that, right? But then he got the false confidence that he could go toe to toe with a Fundora. So or with Jermell Charlo, he got dropped in the first round by making a rookie mistake. You know what I'm saying? By dropping his gloves and dipping down, and he got caught like that. So he had some unfortunate incidents. But if you look at his record, you know what I'm saying, the way he fought from there, you know what I'm saying, he's good at boxing and coming to a unanimous decision. Sometimes he'll knock out his opponents, you know what I'm saying? So the man, until he fight top competition who can adapt in the ring or just have that strength that's can overpower him, you know what I'm saying? That's where he's kind of lax, you know what I'm saying, making the right decisions, you know what I'm saying? He should box when he's fighting, and he should fight when he box. So he just kind of he got to make that little small tweak before he gets too worn down. Before he gets, you know what I'm saying, like before he gets too broken down, right? And I think he's not broken down. I just think that he needs to recapture that same intensity that he used to have. If he do that, he could beat Vergil Ortiz. He could beat Vergil Ortiz, but we know Vergil Ortiz is consistent. We know he's durable, and he's going to come with that heat every single time. He's going to come out there and test your ass. You know what I'm saying? He's going to come out there and put them hammers on your ass. You know what I'm saying? And you better hurt him. And that's what makes this fight so exciting, because we know Vergil Ortiz going to bring that goddamn heat. You know what I'm saying? He says, Blade, by using the tune-up to slam the boots, he said it don't even make sense. I mean, it's a non-argument point. If a fighter wants to take a tune up, I mean, what? I mean, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like it don't really mean nothing. You still got to fight the other fighters. He's not going nowhere. He's landing at 154. To say that to take a tune up is somehow a judgment on the fighter is crazy. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like I think taking a tune up is a good thing. Now, it doesn't get in the way, because these fighters are not as active as the fighters of the past. They need tune-ups. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to sharpen your skills. You got to, and then I think Boots was trying to be intimidating. You know what I'm saying? Give a false sense of intimidation. I think he wanted to do like you know, he wanted to kind of intimidate people. You know what I'm saying? Kind of showcase his skills. You know what I'm saying? To kind of puff himself up for the 154 division. Um, and I think it was all theoretic, kind of like a theater type thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, look what I could do. And he knocked the guy out in the first round. Well, boxing insiders are not impressed by that. But what it does is it start building up the big fight experience, right? You know what I'm saying? So you out there, you're putting on your skills for display in front of a lot of people, and you're producing a knockout for people. So when that you need practice at being on the big stage, right? And I think that's what tune-ups do. Being able to perform in front of people, it's not an easy task. We just take it for granted that these fighters they don't have anxiety. They don't, you know what I'm saying, that they don't suffer from stage fright. So the more you put yourself out there, I think you get used to the big stage, right? Fighting for Matchroom and fighting for Golden Boy, fighting for top rank. You got a lot of people investing in you. You got a lot of people putting pressure on you. You got you riding on your name. So I think this builds confidence. I think tune-ups build confidence. And I think these fighters, they confidence fluctuate. Y'all think they should stay the same. No, you got to go to the gym, and you got to work on that shit. You got to train hard. You got to see yourself hitting that bag. You got to get your timing together. You know what I'm saying? You got to get all that stuff built up. after each fight, you don't just come into the fight with that, right? You gotta work on that shit. You gotta put the muscle memory in. So that's why I say, you got to build yourself up to become Jerron Booth Sentence that everybody, knows and loves. To be Crawford, you got to build yourself up. You know what I'm saying? To be sharp. You know what I'm saying? You got to build yourself up. So, whether that's in the gym, whether that's in a tune-up. I think Madronoff was a tune-up for Canelo, for Crawford. You see Crawford, he takes his tune-ups. It was David Avenesian before he fought Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. didn't take a tune-up, right? He waited out. He waited out the whole entire time, and he got his ass beat. So you know what I'm saying. So I do believe that tune-ups are necessary for some fighters, not all fighters, just for some fighters. They know that you need to work on your shit, right? You need to stay sharp. And I think no matter how good the tune-up is, long as you end up throwing your shots and you got your muscle memory down, keeping your muscle memory up and keeping your timing together, you know what I'm saying? That's what tune-ups do for you. And then you getting the experience of being on the world stage, you know what I'm saying, performing under pressure for people, trying to perform and executing for people that's watching you. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot comes with tune-ups, you know what I'm saying? Even though we don't like them because we already think that these fighters are already on that level. You know, so we already think they come and equipped and they're already sharp because they already put the work in the gym. Well, sometimes they just need a little bit more, saying, and sometimes they just want an extra payday, saying, for an easy fight. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they just want an extra, a little extra money, for an easy fight. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to fight all these hard fights. Sometimes they just want a little easy payday. That comes with it too. So I see a lot of benefits that comes with taking a tune up. There's a lot of benefits. And let's see. So I just believe that. 1 p.m., 1 p.m., 7. Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of benefits that come with that. Blaze he said, I hear you 2 cents. He said, but there's a high expectation for Boots, 35 fights. And a lot of people think that he should have been fighting higher competition. I look forward to him unifying at 154. I think he has no choice. When you look at the 154 pound division, he's gonna have no choice. That's why I say, why y'all worried about him taking the tune up? He's gonna have no choice but to fight the best, right? Because there's nothing but it's jam packed. And then if he moves left when he should move right, you know what I'm saying? And he's not fighting the Beckham, he's fighting some no name or some no champion, so he should be trying to fight Xander, and he should be trying to fight Beckham. He should be trying to fight Fundora, right? Like you say, there's a lot of high expectations on Jerron Booth because of who he is. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, Jerron Booth you know what I'm saying, he's just entering 154. I think I don't think he got any more tune-ups that he should be taking now. Like you said, 35 fights. He should be on point, right? He got his tune-up in. Now there's no excuses. Now I wouldn't want to see Jerron Booth take another tune-up, or then I would have to come in and say, bro, what the fuck are you doing? You too old for that. You know what I'm saying? I would be, if he had to like take a break, if he had like a long break period, 6 months, 8 months to a year, I would say, okay, you need a tune up, bro. But because of who you are, you know what I'm saying? People gonna want to see you go straight into the fight. So you got to stay active. I'm not saying he has to do 3 fights a year to stay active, but you do need to do 1 or 2 fights a year, right? To stay active. Because anything after that, then you're gonna need a tune up. You're gonna need a tune up. And that's what we've been seeing over the years, that these fighters stay out so damn long that we don't know how good they are anymore because you got to build yourself up, so many fights, saying, so you can have the right timing and be able to adapt in these different fights that they take. You know what I'm saying? Because you go in there and start getting your ass beat the first half, and it take you to the second half to get your stamina, to get your timing back on track, and then you don't look like the same fighter that left a year or 6 months ago because you're taking too much time off. You're taking too much time off. This is your time. You're only going to be young once. And the more time that you let by is the worse your skills are going to be if you're not working in the gym, right? And I hear a lot of fighters say that they lose a lot in the gym by sparring too hard, too much. Um, you know, that they leave a lot of their energy and a lot of their durability in the gym. Like if you look at Chris Eubanks, you know what I'm saying, they say he has no punch resistance left. But that's your fault, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be fighting at 168. You know what I'm saying? You're shrinking yourself down. You're killing yourself after the age of 30 or 32 or 33. You're shrinking yourself down. So you're doing damage to yourself. So you got to play it smart. So you got to be more strategic about how these guys are moving and stuff, and think about the age that they're coming in at, and how it's going to affect their bodies and how they operate and execute in the ring. He says, Blaze, the man, he says, the man been ducked. You know what I'm saying? He says, Oscar also sweet as bear meat. He said, but he got hands though. Man, shit. Oscar was the shit, man. You know that. You know that. He says, I know he's been ducked too soon, just like Bud was ducked, but Booth should have been forcing mandatories. We can't tell, we really can't tell these fighters how to move because they got promotional staff, they got other people who's invested in their careers that's telling them how to move, right? Um, Everybody thinks that fighters are in complete control of their careers or how they move. Boots is gonna move how Eddie Hearn tells him to move, right? And we know how Eddie Hearn get down. He always protect his fighters. Then we see AJ go a whole fucking decade, you know what I'm saying, without fighting the top guys, and then end up getting his ass beat by Ruiz, what's his name, Ruiz, the fat dude, you know what I'm saying, getting his ass beat, right? And then finally we understood why Matchroom moved him the way they moved him. Now I'm not saying it's the same situation with Boots, but what I'm saying is Matchroom has a history, kind of like Top Rank, of putting fighters, in there with, to look good, putting them in there with fighters with style matchups that make them look good, right? So I don't know if it's the same thing with Boots, you know what I'm saying? Because Boots, I think, is going to carry Matchroom on his back. That's the dude. That's because nobody's really interested in the zone. The other the zone fighters, they're not really into the zone. You know what I'm saying? Because the zone is like a European network. um, it's not an American centralized type of promotional company. So you can see by the way they're kind of fledgling with the money and fledgling. Eddie Hearn is trying to sell Matchroom to the Turk. He's for sale. Matchroom was for sale because he's tired of that shit, right? He's tired of, nobody really wants to see, a bunch of Europeans go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? People really, they like American boxing, right? And they've been trying to downplay, say American boxing forever. Even they got the commentators, the Chris Mannixes, what I'm saying? They talk shit on American boxers, like America. We carry the sport. America carried the sport. So, but they keep trying to downplay American fighters, and trying to uplift European fighters, right? So it's like, bro, nobody believes that shit. You know what I'm saying? Nobody believes that. It's like as much as they push the narrative, it's not happening, bro. It's not happening. So American boxers are the shit, bro. That's what we want to see. We want to see the Mexicans, we want to see the blacks, and we want to see the American whites over here. You know what I'm saying? If you're American, you know what I'm saying, we carry the sport, even though they keep trying to push it to the Arab countries, whatever the Turk do, you're always going to have to use American boxers to promote the sport. And it's just a damn shame how hard they keep trying to change the shit, and nobody even interested in boxing unless American boxers are in it, right? Even though they try to, they try to cheat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Nobody's even interested in the British fighters like that. You know what I'm saying? Except for maybe a few a few white fans, because that's that's who that Usyk is a damn great fighter. You know what I'm saying? So you got to get in where you fit in. Really, you got to get in where you fit in, and there's not a whole lot of talent at the heavyweight division. So to have Usyk, a white fighter that's on top and got skills on top of it, they loving that shit. You know what I'm saying? So to me, the division is weak, weak. I hate to see weak division, even when it's black fighters that are dominating in weak divisions. It's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro. Even if you become undisputed, a lot of people they look at Devin Haney. He beat Lomachenko. If it wasn't for Lomachenko, bruh, That undisputed shit ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? But he beat Lomachenko. That's why it's so important to have a good name, a boxer with skills, you know what I'm saying, that you beat, you know what I'm saying, and at these different divisions. I didn't want to see Jerron Boo Sanders become undisputed at 147 because it's a weak division, right? So, unless you got champions with 4 belts that can really fight and really, you know what I'm saying, really have a legacy up under them, you know what I'm saying, you go to each champion and fight, that, you know what I'm saying, you can't really, you can't really give them that kind of credit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You just come in and just beat the champ. No, you got to go to at least beat a couple of people in the damn division. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's how I kind of look at it. So, he says when you're truly the A side, he said you can make offers that opponents can't refuse. He said give them the biggest payday to give them in the ring. I think that's true, Blaze. But even when you give people their damn biggest payday, they may sit out for another offer. If you see how Brian Noma Jr. was offered 1.7, that was the biggest payday of his career. You see what I'm saying? That was the biggest payday of his career. Yet he still turned it down, and it turned out good for him. That's why I say I don't get into the whole duck thing, because sometimes when you don't accept that offer, and you might get a better offer, and you don't even take as high of a risk, because I think Devin Haney is less of a risk than Jerron Boots Ennis. He's less of a risk, right? So, but he turned down the 1.7 to get the 3 million plus whatever he's making, and it worked out for him. So you can't really look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? These guys are going to go where they get the biggest money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that Brian Norman Jr. took it because it's less risk. He took it because it's more money, right? And then Jerron Boots Ennis is trying to move up to 154 because everybody already look at Jerron Boots Ennis as a big welterweight. So he really wasn't going to get a lot of credit for beating Brian Norman Jr. or really beating Devin Haney. He wasn't going to get a lot of credit, you know what I'm saying, for beating them dudes, right? Because they already look at him like he's too big for the league. They already think he's a weight bully. Um, that's the narrative that's out there for him. And then he looks so dynamic in the ring. They're like, bro, we do not want to see you fight Devin Haney. You too big. Take your ass up to 154. So it was a lot of negatives against Jerron Boots Ennis to be able to fight on that level. You know what I'm saying? It was just too much. You know what I'm saying? Like and then if he goes out there and get his ass beat by Brian Noma Jr., that's a big blow to his mystique as a fighter, right? He's trying to build up this mystique that he's this dominating, the next in line to take over, for the next in line to be like a Terrence Crawford type of fighter. You go out there and you get your ass beat by Brian Norman Jr. or Devin Haney. Oh my God, bro. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna be looking at you like you was the total hype job of the year. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, you are a hype job. He says, how he got a belt, then he's unified, then he moved up. Um, when got the belt, he unified. How he got a belt, then he unified, then he moved up. Then he beat Stanionis, and then I think he got elevated when Crawford lost when he dropped the IBF, and then Crawford made that statement that kind of like he was an email champion, and he got elevated under the IBF. Uh, was it the IBF? Then he got the WBA when he beat Stanionis, so he got unified like that. So he really hasn't been, he's kind of got one belt by default, and then he got WBA, which made him a unified champion. And then they're saying like under the IBF that he could have pressed for that backroom fight. So, but then Matchroom is using that to move him strategically, right? Because you don't know if Jerron Boots is going to fold in at 154. So I'm not one of these guys that's biased. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited about Jerron Boots, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying that he can't get beat. You know, 'cause I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the skills, and I think he passes the eye test. You know what I'm saying? But I do see him get hit by that overhand right, that straight right. I be seeing him get his ass tagged. Now, if you got somebody like a Backroom who could get in a shot like that, Can Boots stand up to it? And is he fast enough to land that punch for one? Backroom, is he fast enough to land that overhand right that Boots and then Boots got to be in that mode to where he's strictly offensive and trying to put on the show, because that's when he gets hit with it. It's like when he's trying to like really, when he's really trying to bite down on his mouthpiece and trying to put power behind his shots. That's when he tend to, that's Crawford the same way. When Crawford trying to knock your ass out, he takes shots. He takes chances, and that's what makes these guys exciting. You know what I'm saying? Because they would just throw caution to the wind. They throw caution to the wind, and it's just it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like shit. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to knock Madronov out, and that's if people's like he get hit. Crawford get hit. Well, you're gonna get hit when you're trying to knock somebody out. When you're throwing caution to the wind because you want to get that KO. That's what makes these fighters, what I'm saying, so good. What I'm saying, because they going for it. And you're gonna leave yourself open, and you're gonna get caught. And Crawford was able to take it. What Madronov was putting out. What I'm saying, that we want to see that with Boots at 154. What I'm saying, can he take a shot? What I'm saying, and it's nothing better than to see him take a shot from one of these wood choppers. What I'm saying? Because these wood choppers can hit. They got power. You saw what Backroom did to Tim Tszyu, who don't move his head, who is a strong, tough guy. And you saw what happened to him. Now I don't know if the fight with Sebastian Fundora softened Tim Tszyu up. You know what I'm saying? Because before that, looked like Tim Tszyu could walk through anything. Looked like he could walk through goddamn cast iron buildings and shit until he got his ass beat by Sebastian Fundora. But to see, we got to see if Boots can withstand a war at 154, and how many wars is he going to be able to withstand at that weight class? Because people are still saying that weight class, the class of 154, is too small for Boots. They're saying that he's actually a bigger guy than that. So what I'm saying, because a lot of fighters, they've been shrinking down to try to what I'm saying, use their natural size, after they blow up after fights, what I'm saying, to be able to get through these divisions, what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see if Boots, what I'm saying, is bigger than 154 and he's able to absorb, what I'm saying, the shots at 154, what I'm saying? It's going to be interesting. So I think that's going to be good. I think that's going to be interesting to see. But I want to see him fight enough, take enough fights to where he's busy and not, we're not guessing which way he's going to go, because he's going to be sitting ringside at that Conor Ben fight. He's going to be sitting ringside. And I was like, man, I hope this. And he said, because I think he got a fighter in the camp now. I forgot what that dude named. Oh, Catterall. Jack Catterall is in their camp, and so they're trying to support him because his dad is training him, and they're trying to support him. But I was like, man, anytime a fighter sits ringside, it's like they're trying to. I hope he ain't trying to fight Conor Ben. Cause I don't think Conor Ben should, slip into this situation, cause he's just kind of almost like a novice type fighter to me. All the cheating and shit that he's done, um, I just don't think he should connect his name with Conor Ben, because that's who he would have to fight, because Chris Eubank is on his way out. Um, and I understand trying to support your stablemate, but you got your own shit you need to build and need to be working on. You need to be sitting at the side of backroom fights. You should be sitting at the side of Vergil Ortiz fight when he fight Eric Lubin tonight. That's the fight that he should be sitting out there in the audience, and possibly walk up after the fight and challenge Vergil Ortiz or Eric Lubin, whoever wins that fight. That's what I see with that Jerome Booth sentence, for publicity, to build up that fight. And that's what he should, not being over there at the Chris Eubanks and Conor Ben. So I think they miss opportunities. Hopefully, um, Vergil Ortiz will call out Jerome Booth sentence, or Erickson Lubin. I'm pretty sure Erickson Lubin, if he win, he will call out Jerome Booth sentence. I'm pretty sure. He says, this fight is going to be a banger. He says they brought the food stamps back. God damn it. God damn it. It's going to be some barbecues. It's going to be some tater salad. Nigga, it's going to be, God damn it, it's going to be some macaroni and cheese. Oh my God, bro. It's going to be happening, bro. I got to go to the hood and shit. God damn it. I got to pay me about $200. God damn it, give me about $500 worth of food stamp. God damn it. God damn it. I got to go to the hood. God damn it. Goddamn, goddamn Sharika got them stamps. Goddamn, I gotta get my text. Goddamn, we got stamps. We in business, baby. I go down there, like go get my damn case of beer. Goddamn it. He said, whoever said that about tune-ups has to have never put on gloves in their lives. He said, whoever said that about tune, I don't know what you're saying, Blaze. He says, Lubin hits hard. He said, Vergil takes punches. Be careful what you wish for. And like I said, I do believe Lubin can win that fight. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I mean, what version of Vergil Ortiz are you gonna get? He says, my favorite King Corso, Vergil Ortiz. Yes, sir. That's a good way to look at him. You know, as a King Corso. You know, just a fucking aggressive ass, mean, aggressive ass attack dog. He says, Lubin losses are against great, yep, Jermell, Charlo, and Fundora. He said this is a step up, yep, for Vergil. Yep, it sure is. You right on point with that. You right on point with that. What's going on, Pat? What's happening, bro? He says Lubin got a glass jaw. Yeah, he does. But you know, he's good at he's good at moving that head, and he's good at parrying punches, and he's just a good defensive fighter when he want to be. It's just sometimes he get lackadaisical, sometimes he gets lazy, and you know, when he's firing off his offense, he forgets his defense. He forget that shot that's coming back, and he gets hit on that spot, and then all of a sudden that motherfucker be looking drunk, boy. It's hard for him to recuperate too. It's hard, but we know if but one thing you know about Vergil Ortiz, that if he hurts you, he's gonna finish you. If he hurts you, he's gonna finish you. Let's see. Uh, Is it 8:30? Yeah. Yeah. If he hurts you, he's gonna finish you, bro. That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah. If he hurts you, he's gonna finish you, bro. So Thomas Hill in the building. Let's see. He's a Dark Kent. Dark Kent in the middle. What's going on, bro? Shit, the 300 showing up. What's going on? He says, I got Vergil in 9-10. Said they wouldn't put him in a fight he couldn't win. Shit, damn, assassin. Come on now. You gonna really look at Erickson Lubin, everything you know about Erickson Lubin, and you're gonna disrespect him like that? Come on, bro. He says, unless you put in a fight, you lose. Unless you put in a fight, you lose. And y'all be having conversations. He says, yeah, yeah, that's boxing. I'm just saying on the probability of a win because of the matchmaking. Well, I know, Vergil, he seemed like he's on the upswing, and Lubin has been kind of stagnated because of the level of, I mean, I would say Jesus Ramos is a decent fight, but saying, because I watched the highlights. I got to go back and watch that whole fight because people been telling me that Erickson Lubin looked good during that fight. But then if you look at the highlights, you'd be like, oh shit. And then you look at the highlights with Bokachuk, saying all you see is Lubin. All you see is Vergil Ortiz going down a couple of times. And you're like, man, he lost that goddamn fight. So I think they neck and neck. I think it's just kind of like, what I'm saying? It's like it's a 50-50, man. You know what I'm saying? Because if Virgil could be hurt, Lubin could hurt this nigga, man. And Lubin, this is a fight that he really need to have. So, if you look at it, they're both vying for that WBA interim championship. And to me, their names are bigger than the champions at 154. So this is you're getting a good look at basically the best fighters at 154. Now, they got to make sure that that's what that means. You know what I'm saying? Them fighting each other. If they fight Backham next, whether he fight, I don't think what's that guy named Abes Barrero? I don't think he's part of the conversation. I don't think Alexander, you know what I'm saying? I think he's food. And really you just got Sebastian Fundora. Um, you're gonna have to. That's gonna be the challenge. Him and Backwell. I think those are the two guys that's probably gonna be the toughest fights if you want to become undisputed at 154. I think Xander Zayas and our best Barrero. I don't think they're gonna be, what I'm saying, I don't think they're gonna be tough champions, so I think they're kind of like title holders. Um, but this fight here, you're probably looking at the damn undisputed fight right here. He says that's because he cuts weight too long. And let's see. Two cents said Boots has Boots hasn't fought anybody as good as Lubin, Maginov, um, etc. Well, that's why he's in the division. That's why he's at this division right now. To fight, some of the best. So I mean, it's like only in boxing, said do we, like really hold it against a fighter if they don't fight anybody. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's giving Boots anything. You know what I'm saying? He has to actually go out there and earn it, right? So nobody's giving him a belt. Nobody's giving him anything. He actually has to go out there and fight these guys. So I don't understand why people are trying to diminish, what I'm saying, something that he hasn't done yet. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I know he had 35 fights, but you still got to go out there and prove it. So let him go out there and prove it. You know what I'm saying? So why try to tear him down before he actually gets out there? He's in a division where there's some names. We're always talking about fighters are not fighting the best competition. Well, now he's in a division where there's some names at. Let's see what the man does. You know what I'm saying? Let's get a man some room. He's only 28 years old. 27, 28 years old. Let the man go in there and fight. Say David Benavidez is finally, saying, getting the names. You know what I'm saying? He's finally, you know, it's opened up to where you don't have all these old ass fighters holding on the belts and staying in the way. You know what I'm saying? So it's things has opened up for David Benavidez, and now things has opened up for Jermell because he couldn't get the Spence fight. He couldn't get the Crawford fight. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that his name wasn't he didn't have a marquee name, right? No, he didn't have nothing to offer them guys, right? So they fought each other, and they had been in the league, they had been in the division for over 10 years. What the fuck was Boots? You know what I'm saying? So he couldn't get those fights. So now it's his time. Things are opening up, the opportunities are opening up for Gerard Bucenis. Now we want to see what he's gonna do with this opportunity at 154. Now all these guys are his peers. They're basically damn near on the same skill level, right? So as far as competition, being his competition wise, right? They're damn near on the same level. So let's see what he does, right? So let's not look at what happened at 147 because we didn't give him credit for when he did fight whoever had the belts at 147. I mean, did you really want to see him fight Marius Boreals? Did you really want to see him fight Brian Norman Jr. or Devin Haney? Did you really want to see those fights? I didn't. I wanted to see him fight at 154. I told him to move to 154 a long time ago. So I can't really hold that against him, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's a thing of timing, you know what I'm saying? I really didn't want to see the Crawford Boots fight because I thought Crawford probably would have been too much for him, you know what I'm saying? Because he don't have the experience. Because if he would have went in there and got destroyed, or if he would have went in there and won, said then you would have said that Crawford was too old. So, that's why it's best to fight in your prime because you got a excuse either way. You know what I'm saying? It's best to fight in your prime, right? He says, Andy had a AJ glitch. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? In 4K. Exactly. He says, you're going to see why Boots duck. He said he's going to make a statement. I don't understand this whole, why they trying to diminish Boots. I don't understand it. He says Boots ain't did nothing but get into the ring and fight. So I don't understand it. Why everybody against Philly in the house? He says, you crazy if you think Boots is sucking Vergil Ortiz. He said it would probably be the other way around. If Vergil beats Lubin but gets banged up, he might avoid Boots. Well, that's a possibility. But my thing is, why try to hold all these fighters up when we allow certain other fighters to duck? You know what I'm saying? And people say he just going to get a bag. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't even bother myself with that conversation about who's ducking. It don't fucking matter because we allow fighters. You allow your favorite fighter to duck, right? And you don't call it a duck. So It's like if you're gonna be consistent all the way around, right? You know what I'm saying? As soon as some fighter take another fight besides the fight they were supposed to, you expected them to. You know what I'm saying? You got an excuse for that fighter, but then you see a fighter make the same kind of business move, and then you're like, then you want to make it, then you want to say that fighter's ducking. It's like, bro, it's all business. It's all business. It's all business, bro. So don't just try to hold, don't try to hold other fighters, you know what I'm saying, to the same, hold them all to the same standard is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Get on their ass just like you getting get on your favorite fighter ass just like you getting on Jerron Booth in his ass. That's all I'm saying. Just be consistent around the board. I just try to stay away from the ducking shit because the business behind this shit is diabolical. It's diabolical. He said Booth's gonna want another tune up. Like man, Booth saying he better not get another damn tune up. I just don't think. I think he pretty sure know that would be career suicide. He said he says being washed Boots. You got to stop ducking. Okay, I see you trolling. It's like I don't even understand trolling. Tell you the truth. He says he won't be able to. He said he won't be able to boot scared real tough fights. I don't understand why that's a narrative everybody push. About Boots being scared. I don't understand what you get out of it. You know what I'm saying? If it's a fight, if he's a fighter that you want to see fight, and it's like, what's the whole point of putting it out there that he's scared? You know what I'm saying? It's like wait till a man get into a fight and see what he look like. He get into a tough fight, or if and says see what how he moves at 154. You trying to create a whole narrative that this dude, what I'm saying, is not what he says he is, or let him prove it. I mean, why create this whole story that he's scared? I mean, there's nobody at 147 to be scared of. There's nobody at 154 to be scared of. He's got to fight these dudes. So what's the point of creating this narrative? Either way, Jerron Business got to prove it. He's got to get in the ring and prove it. Why try to put that in front of him before he even have a chance to show us, right? He says Boo's gonna fight another. Oh man, this dude. He says, what? Wait a minute. Boots and Devin ducking oh, I see these troll accounts. He said I got Xander beating Boots. He said Xander moving nicely and he really wants to smoke. I got to see it. I got to see it. He says there's going to be a bunch of excuses when Boots washes Virgil, like there was like there was for Canelo. And yeah, they keep saying. The crazy thing is about that is that I've been seeing writers on Boxing 24 saying that Crawford was running, telling me the fight was boring. Crawford ran. I was like, man, I said these writers are really biased on Boxing 24 news. And I was like, man, that Chris Williams, that dude is a fucking hater. That Chris Williams dude, that dude is, I don't know if he's being brought up. I know they be, getting their rooms comped and paid for and all this kind of stuff. They get all kind of perks for, painting all different kind of narratives. Cause I was like, is that the fight you saw? Was Crawford running or was Crawford boxing and beating Canelo ass? So I was like, they be trying to change the perception and they be trying to, saying really change the public opinion by giving, by being a writer. They think, that's some kind of authority and change the influence of public opinion. I'm like, bro, that anybody who saw that Crawford Canelo fight, that wasn't no fucking running, bro. My man beat. He was just better than Canelo Alvarez that night, and they can't handle that shit. You know what I'm saying? They can't handle that shit. It's like they always got to try to change the narrative. They always got to use propaganda through writers and shit to try to take off some of the sting of the loss of Canelo Alvarez. Even David Benavidez still want that fight. With Canelo Alvarez, but Canelo Alvarez he know better than that shit. You know what I'm saying? He knows. He's food now, and everybody wants a piece. He said if Virgil beats Lubin and doesn't duck boot, if Virgil beats Lubin. I don't think he have a choice, really. I don't think this fight has already been built up, and you hear Oscar De La Hoya talk a little bit about it, and you heard Eric Lubin talking about they should have fought at 154 during the press conference, Um, talking about I think that fight is over. They should have fought at 147. And I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, what the fuck is Lubin talking about? It's like, yeah, you got to fight, dog. You what? They done paid you to be a propaganda artist. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about that fight? Even if you beat Vergil Ortiz, he still should fight Boots, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what are you talking about? They should have fought at 147. Yeah, they should have fought at 147, but you at 154 now. So why can't they fight at 154? Why are you putting that out there? So it was just kind of suspicious to me, especially when Erickson Lubin already got the fight. That just seemed like something that, he shouldn't even be worried about. You shouldn't even be worried about if they're gonna fight or not because you got the fight, right? So why are you trying to, trying to put cold water on that fight, right? Unless you're thinking about a second, you know what I'm saying, a rematch. Unless you guys get in there, you thinking about a rematch or some shit like that. That's the only way I could think that Eric Lubin would put that out there, you know what I'm saying, about that fight. Unless he's trying to, get in good with Oscar De La Hoya. Because like you said, that could be a sign that if Vergil Ortiz win this fight, they might be going in another direction. You know what I'm saying? Because why else would Eric Lubin say some shit like that? I was like, bro, yeah, are you retarded? I was like, bro, are you fucking retarded? It's like, why are you talking like that? This shit is crazy, man. I was like, man, some of these fighters, man, they be tripping. I said, you got to fight, So what is your incentive for trying not to make that fight? That fight is building regardless of what they say. That's the fight everybody want to see. Now they could be trying to marinate the fight because one thing these promoters do is they marinate these damn fights too long and then they miss the timing of popping these fights off. You know what I'm saying? And then Vergil Ortiz go off and get his ass whipped. And then now we done lost the momentum for the fight, just like we saw AJ and Wilder. You know what I'm saying? They all went off on their own way and got their ass whipped, and now the fight buildup was Wilder had to go dig up Tyson Fury, you know what I'm saying, which made a bigger rivalry, which really made a bigger fight than AJ because AJ ended up being a big buster. But we do know that, with Virgil with Boots Ennis, we don't know if he a buster or not. You know what I'm saying? We at 154, we don't know if he a buster. We know he got skills. We know he got skills. We know he passed the eye test, but until he get in there with with the top guys, we don't know if he's going to do the same thing he did at 147 against the better competition. You don't look as good. You don't look as dominant. Now, if he can go in there and Jerome Businis look as good as he looked at 147 against Stanionis, if he could look like that at 154 against Backrum and some of the other guys, Sebastian Fundora, if he looked that dominant, then a lot of people are going to have to, they're going to have to they're gonna have to backtrack. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to backtrack. And they're still gonna try to find different angles. I think that because once people don't like you, one thing about boxing fans, once they don't like you, it's hard for them to backtrack off that shit. It's hard for them to backtrack. It's hard for them to get off the neck. Just like Devin Haney, like people don't like Devin Haney, they're always gonna dislike Devin Haney. I'm saying it's your prerogative, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that's just how boxing fans are, you know what I'm saying? It's like once they've been on the negative side, they're gonna stay on that side no matter. I don't care if you knock out King Kong and Godzilla, nigga. They're gonna be like, them nigga was soft. Godzilla was soft, nigga. He had a hurt leg, you know what I'm saying? King Kong, you know what I'm saying? That nigga ain't had no bananas that morning. You know what I'm saying? That nigga came in there weak. Everybody know he got to eat his bananas before he fight. You know what I'm saying? It'd be all kind of excuses. He said, I hope Eddie doesn't pull a boo-boo Andre on Boots, you know what I'm saying, shoving him out the way of Vergil. Shoving him out the way. Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, it's gonna be obvious. It's gonna be obvious because that's everybody, I think besides there's no other fight at 154 any boxing fan wants to see besides the Vergil Ortiz Duran Boots in the fight. Nobody wants to see Backrum versus Fundora. Nobody wants to see Abbas Barrero versus Xander. more than they want to see Vergil Ortiz versus Boots. That's the biggest fight at 154. So if they make any other moves besides that, they already know. They already know they can't go another direction. Now, if they try to push Boots to fight for the WBA, because I think he's in line for the WBA, right? Um, and they try to get Vergil Ortiz to fight Fundora, they're gonna fuck up the money. They're gonna fuck up the money because Vergil is likely he can lose to Sebastian Fundora, right? So if he tries to, because I think he's the WBA contender, right? Or let's say he wins this and he becomes WBA interim champion, right? So if he goes the Fundora route and Jerome Businis goes the WBA route, then there's a possibility they're going to miss each other by taking a loss, right? So they need to get that fight on before they take a loss because that's marinating the fight too long. And I know these promoters be wanting these super fights and all this shit, but they're gonna miss the opportunity if they do that. And these belts don't mean as much as they used to because fighters don't give a fuck about belts like that no more. They move how they want to move. They move how they want to move. He said he ain't like that. He said he's gonna get exposed sooner or later. You know what I'm saying? Why you say he ain't like that though? You said why you say he ain't like that? You know, you seen him in the ring. He passes the eye test, but how you say he ain't like that? There's nothing to prove that Jerome Businis ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? The dude's skills are undeniable, right? I'm not saying he's a Floyd Mayweather, he's a Terrence Crawford, and maybe some people got a bias against him because people they compare him with Terrence Crawford, and maybe some people are offended by that because he's supposed to be the next Crawford. You know what I'm saying? And I could see a lot of Crawford fans, tearing Boots down because they don't want him to be, the next Jordan, the next heir apparent to boxing, right? But y'all shouldn't look at it like that because behind every legend that gets old, there's going to be another one that comes up. We don't know who that is. We don't know if Boots going to be that. But at the same time, you can't say that that man is trash. You can't do that until you see him actually lose in the ring, until you actually see him ducking smoke. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You just can't make that assumption right now. I don't care if it's a tune-up. You got to give these fighters the slack to what I'm saying, to adjust to new weight divisions, to cutting weight, what I'm saying, at different weight classes and stuff. And I know y'all don't care about that shit, but it's a real type of situation, right? That you got to take into account, right? You know what I'm saying? Because these fighters will miss weight easy. We've seen Keyshawn Davis miss weight. We've seen Javante Tank Davis miss weight. You know what I'm saying? When you start moving up, and then you got to be able to perform at that weight the same way you perform at 147. You got to make sure all operational systems are online, right? And so that's what these tune-ups are for, to make sure that you're able to operate over 12 rounds, you know what I'm saying, carry that weight in a certain way. Are you able to go all out in the 12th round? Are you able to savor your power? You know what I'm saying? You got to check out all your operation systems. So I think it's smart to take a take a tune-up, you know what I'm saying, just to see how your body reacts to certain weight classes, right? Do I want to see another tune-up? Hell no. I do not want to see another tune-up. And I think that's it for Jerome Businis. I think he's where everybody wanted to see him operate, and there's no excuses. So I think people should give Jerome Businis some slack to see if he is what he say he is. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And people say, yeah, and I understand, Doc Kent. I can see how you could pick Lubin. Believe me, I'm not on Jerome Businis. I mean not Jerome Businis, Vergil Ortiz. I'm not on either side like that because I know Lubin is a got skills like a motherfucker. He got more skills than Vergil Ortiz. He has way more skills and offensive abilities. He has a higher boxing IQ than Vergil Ortiz. Vergil Ortiz is just good at pressuring. You know what I'm saying? He's really not good on the back foot. And you know what I'm saying? So Lupin is good going forward or backwards. And he's a good counter puncher. So you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things. I've seen Vergil Ortiz struggle with that Michael he struggled with some guys that way he had to pursue. He don't really when somebody fighting off the back foot, it takes Vergil Ortiz a while to get into the groove. He's a very rhythmatic fighter. If you get him off his rhythm, it takes him a while to get it unless he breaks out into a brawl. He likes to brawl to get his rhythm back, and that could work against him. You know what I'm saying? Because if Eric Lubin frustrate him in the boxing, moving, slipping, and he start catching Vergil Ortiz is going to crash out. Vergil Ortiz he's going to crash out and try to brawl, and that could work against him. If Lubin time his ass correctly, so I could see Lubin winning. I understand because Lubin is a highly skilled fighter. So I mean, I can understand why you would pick Lubin. He says facts. He said you had Canelo defeating Bud, huh? I know he ain't talking to me. I said I know you ain't talking to me. He said because you must be don't watch my channel and shit. You must be don't watch my channel and shit. So I'm not even. He must be talking to somebody else. He says Oscar's not in a rush to. He says Oscar not in a rush to put Virgil in the ring with Booth. I understand that, but he has no choice. The fight, this is one, those are one of the 2 cents. This is one of those fights that's building on its own. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody recognize how big this fight is. So, people really haven't accepted Sebastian Fundora, what I'm saying, as the dominant fighter that he is. People really haven't accepted him like that. People, they still getting to know these guys, especially he looking like a math teacher, like a math, what I'm saying, like a math professor. And then you got nobody knows who Albus Barrero is, and nobody knows Xander like that. So coming from top rank, they don't really know these guys like that, but they do know who's Vergil Ortiz is. They do know they're getting to know who Jerome Businis is. So they name carry a lot of cachet. I think Backroom is going to be a big name because of his looming presence, and but he don't have it right now. People still don't know who these champions are. We know who they are because we follow boxing every day. But Vergil Ortiz and Jerome Businis coming from 147 is more of a glamour division than 154 is, even though 154 has all the competition. So, that's the biggest fight that's on the horizon, and it's building, and they know that. So if Oscar fuck around and try to, push Vergil Ortiz in a different direction, then it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be a lot of accusations. It's going to be a lot of what I'm saying, a lot of scrutiny and criticism on Vergil Ortiz. What I'm saying, and especially if people don't believe that, or if they try to move, if Jerome Businis try to move in another direction, man, he is going to get ate up by the boxing public. What I'm saying, because that's the fight everybody want to see. Just like Javante Tank Davis, he didn't take the Lamont Roach fight. What I'm saying? Well, he did take it, but then of course he had all the issues and stuff in his personal life. So, but he still didn't get the fight. So people are like, man, what the hell going on? What I'm saying? It's like, bro, you didn't want the fight. Then there's a lot of speculation come from that. So it looked like every time Javante Tank Davis, don't want to fight, look like he gets into some kind of legal trouble. What I'm saying? To get out the damn fight. That's just what it seemed like. I'm not saying that's the way it is, but it's like all you have to do is just get into some kind of goddamn trouble. What I'm saying? And the fight's called off. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it is what it is. Everybody was criticizing the man for taking the fight, and then the fight. What I'm saying? Then the fight didn't even go through because of all the bullshit. So it's just one of them things. So Jerome Businis, he just need his opportunity to get up there and show what he can do. And I just think that he deserves that opportunity. That's all. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if Booth is another Jeff. Oh shit. Jeff Lacey. He said it's a reason he had 35 fights with no real comp yet. Come on. Man. God damn, Nebraska assassin. And I know you a Bud. I know you love Bud. I know you love Bud Crawford, so I know where you coming from. You scared that this dude he'll never match Bud Crawford's legacy. So I don't know why you hating on this dude. He'll never match. He's too far down. he got too far to go to be able to match. Bud is a veteran, so I don't understand like why y'all hate this dude like that. Just because he's being compared to Crawford don't mean he's going to surpass Crawford. It don't mean that Crawford is going to fight this guy. Because I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna keep it real with you. If Crawford was to come off his high horse and come down to fight Jerron Boots Ennis and he beat Boots, all they're gonna say is that Boots wasn't ready. You know what I'm saying? That's all they're gonna say. Unless if Boots beat Crawford, they're gonna say Crawford was too old. So we've seen this shit before. So I don't understand why everybody's so scared that if these guys meet, we already know they didn't meet in their prime. So it's like, what's the point? What I'm saying? Get over that fight. Get over Boots becoming a name in boxing. It happens. We got to move on. We got to advance and move forward. So we can't hold on to these old ass guys. What I'm saying? They done got old and shit. Now it's time for the next crop to take over. And we got to accept that, right? We got to accept it. Or you don't have to accept it. You could keep hating and saying that these old ass niggas gonna be able to beat these younger generation guys. You can say that. What I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. Victor Conte gone. What I'm saying? Victor Conte done passed, right? So it's gonna be a lot of these snack people gonna start taking L's. If Devin Haney was doing something crazy, it's gonna show. If anybody who if they were doing anything crazy, it's gonna show. Ryan Garcia don't look the same. What I'm saying? They don't look the same. They just don't. So if it's gonna be Victor Conte gone, unless he got his son or he got somebody to take over. His relationships with Vader. You know what I'm saying? He was the godfather of whatever he was doing. Saying he's gonna have to either hand it over to somebody so the tradition can go on, or it's over. And there's gonna be a lot of fighters starting to look human. That's all I'm just put that out there. I ain't say no names. I'm just saying it's gonna be a lot of fighters that look human out there. He said honestly, he says a fatal six tournament at 147 prime fighters could have been a banger. EJ, Bud, Keith, Sean, Danny, Ugas. Yeah, that was a golden age. That was a golden age right there. But as we see, nowadays that certain fighters don't want to participate. They want to preserve themselves. They want to have the edge. What I'm saying? They want to have the strategic edge. What I'm saying? Let everybody else bang it out. What I'm saying? That type stuff. What I'm saying? And that's just what we got today. We don't have them fighters that just want to jump into the fray and whip everybody. What I'm saying? They don't want to do that shit nowadays. That's just not boxing anymore. Everybody want to be strategic. He says, Vergil is overrated as well, though. Oh my God. Well, we don't. But think about this, Nebraska Assassin. All these fights, they don't come from the same stock. They do they're not the best athletes. They the best athletes that went into boxing, right? Those years ago. So we don't have the best of the best. People are going to different avenues. They're playing basketball, they playing football. We're not getting the best of the best of the best. So it's hard to find those Sweet Pea Whitakers, those Floyd Mayweathers. They're going into different Zab Judas. What I'm saying? It's hard to find those Bernard Hopkins. What I'm saying? Roy Jones Jr. They're going to different avenues. Not everybody wants to get hit upside the head, right? Not everybody wants to go into boxing. 'Cause boxing is a hard hustle, man. What's going on, Mr. Infinity 18? What's happening? He says boot management is moving him slow because his brothers had short, unsuccessful careers. He says they don't want boots. They don't want boots careers to end up like his older brother's careers. I can see that. That's one of the best analytical looks at why they moving boots the way they move them. If you tell the truth, that's a good point, Mr. Infinity. That was a damn good point. You know, so I just think it's smart to move a fighter slow because as you go up in competition and step up, you could tell that the fights get harder. You never know if somebody hit you with a lucky punch, and that could still make your growth. What I'm saying, as a boxer. But at the same time, you got to take risks to progress, right? Say to take on the challenges. That's the only way you're going to get the respect that you really deserve. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way you're going to get that. Taking on a Pat say. He said, anyone wants to make a friendly wager on this fight? He said, I got Vergil winning by KO or stoppage, $50. You're probably going to get a lot of action on that, bro, because people believe that that Lubin is that dude, man. A lot of people still believe in Lubin, and if Lubin still believing in himself, he got a good chance to win this fight. You know what I'm saying? If he's still that dude, he could still win this fight. So let me see. This is a does Vergil look a little dry to you? Yeah, you know what I'm saying, like I said, it's not an exciting press conference. It's really not, you know. Let me see. Yeah, it's really not. Let me see. Let's under fair use. Let's see. Let's look at the press conference. It's kind of dry, man. Let me see. Yeah.
He said it how it is, man. I always want to fight the best guys. You know, I feel like Vergil Ortiz, they got him at Ring Magazine #1 right now. And I feel like a big win over Vergil Ortiz has just put me right there in that position as the #1 guy. And, you know, this is for the WBC interim title. First off, I want to thank God. I want to thank God because without him, none of this is possible. And then I want to thank my team. I want to thank ProBox, you know, for making this fight happen. I want to thank Golden Boy. I want to thank PBC, always supporting me, always backing me. You know, this is it's been a long time coming, and I feel like this is real special to me. This is a big fight right here. This is in Vergil Ortiz's backyard. I don't care if we fought in literally his backyard, but you know, that's just the type of fighter I am. You know, I'm ready to show that I'm the best fighter at 154 pounds. You know, whether people want to say it or not, I'm the best fighter at 154 pounds. My resume speaks for itself.
I don't know about all that. You know what I'm saying? He's a little bit delusional. When it comes to that, talking about he's the best fighter at 154 pounds. I mean, that's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Lubin, you know, it's good that he got this kind of confidence, you know what I'm saying? But to say he's the best at 154 pounds, you know, I understand that he got to say that. But in actuality, he's not the best fighter at 154 pounds. You know what I'm saying? But talk your shit, bro. I mean, you know, do what you do.
And on Saturday night, they're just going to have to see it. You know, I know a lot of people want to see the boots in this and Vergil Ortiz fight. But in my opinion, that fight should have happened at 147. There's a lot of ball players. There's a lot of players at 154 pounds. And I think that fight is long gone past each other. You know, they can go ahead and try to hype that fight up as much as they can. But, you know, there's much more fights to make at 154 pounds. You know, this right here is a big fight for myself. This right here is a biggest fight for Vergil Ortiz himself. You know, he's fought Majmov and he's fought Buhachuk, but those guys aren't me. They haven't been in the ring with guys like myself or been in the ring with guys that I've fought. So everybody tune in on Saturday night. It's hammer time. It's gonna be a big night of boxing. You got a great undercard. You know, it's a great turnout. You know, I can't wait to perform in front of you guys. You know, Texas has always been great to me. You know, I've actually fought in Texas probably like 5 times and walked away with a knockout every time I've been over here. It's gonna be a big night of boxing, so you don't want to miss it.
So, you know, so Lubin, you know, he's selling it a little bit. You know, he's a little bit flamboyant, but I think he's just trying to sell the fight. That little piece he put in there, like, you know, about the Jerome Businis fight, you know what I'm saying? I think that he's just doing that shit for Golden Boy, trying to talk down on that fight. And maybe Oscar had a word with him about that. And like you said, it might be a sign that they're trying to move Vergil Ortiz from that fight. Because why would you talk down on that fight? You know what I'm saying? Especially when you got the fight in front of you. So that was just a little weird to me. I'm kind of a little weary on. I'm kind of like looking at some kind of conspiracy behind that. Um, that's just a little weird. He says, what's going on, Retro in the building? He says, Tank is going to eat all the snacks for for the Jake Paul fight. He said, look like Squidward when he ate all the Krabby Patties. I thought the fight off, isn't it? Retro, that fight is off. That fight is off. Let me see if I can get. Oh, there go Virgil. Okay, here go Vergil Ortiz. Like you said, he was a little flat. He was a little flat in this. Here you go. So like I said, it wasn't a big deal. It was just kind of, Virgil just being Virgil.
And I mean that's why I'm here. I want to fight the best, and Lubin has been calling for this fight for a while, and I was like, why not? I mean, this is a great fight. I'm sure the fans would love to watch it. I know that both of us can get some good experience out of this, and we can take it forward to the next fight.
I know you don't pay much attention to social media, but every now and then you like to clap back at people. It is Clap Back Thursday, by the way. You went back at some people when they're saying, oh, why Lubin, why this? Like, you even said to me, like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. This is a dangerous fight.
It's a dangerous fight for sure. And you know what? I don't care if people overlook him or people overlook me. At the end of the day, it's me and him in the ring, and that's really all that matters.
Oscar, this division, you know it well, it is loaded. And for Erickson to say that maybe Boots End has oversaturated itself, that's not a fight that should be happening. But he sounds very confident. Vergil sounds very confident. This is what the fans deserve, finally.
Oh, I love the confidence from both guys. I mean, they believe in themselves, and that's exactly what you should be doing when you're a fighter. You work hard, you go climb the ladder and fight different fighters, different styles, different world champions. You face adversity, you win fights, you lose fights. But look, they're here in this moment, in this position for a reason, because they are the best at 154, and you're gonna see the best from them Saturday night at Dickies Arena.
When Oscar says you.
So, once again, Oscar, I don't know. He seemed like he got confidence in Vergil Ortiz Jr. This on the fair use. It looked like he got confidence, but will he put him in the ring with Jermell Busines next? Is that fight too dangerous, or, is he just trying to, get all the money he can out of Vergil Ortiz before he take a loss at 154? He got dropped twice in that Boca fight, and he still won. So, there's a lot of politics behind Vergil Ortiz. They got a lot of power still in the game. So, it's going to be interesting to see how he moves after this Eric Lubin fight. And there's no guarantee to say that Vergil Ortiz might win this fight. Because Erickson Lubin seemed like, even though he's not overdoing it,
As you guys are the two best in this division, how's that make you feel?
Even though he's not overdoing it, Eric Lubin looked like he's in a position to like upset the apple cart, really. And here go Lubin last. That's a little blurb.
I mean, that's something I put in my head already. I already know that because just the resume speaks for itself. Vergil Ortiz, they got him #1 at Ring Magazine, #1 at 154 pounds. And he's a fighter. He's a great fighter. He comes to fight. He brings the fight. He has majority knockouts. I see why they have him at #1 at 154 pounds. He's highly promoted, highly touted, and every time he goes out there to fight, he brings the fight. He's either walking away with a vicious knockout or a dominant performance. So yeah, Oscar ain't make no mistake saying that. We are the two best at 154 pounds, and we get the class Saturday night.
Oscar, could this be one where maybe down the road they run it back again, the potential for something like that?
I mean, who knows? You never know. You have to watch Saturday night. I mean,
and see, that's what I mean by it seemed like they setting this up to be, a rematch type of situation because they are so close in skill, right? Because, they respect Lubin's abilities. If Vergil goes out there and just get a knockout and stoppage, that's one thing. But if it's a close, controversial fight, which it could be, where everybody's saying that Lubin's going to win, everybody's saying Vergil's going to win. What if this thing ends up being like, a close, controversial fight, and they have to run the shit back? And I could see Oscar doing some shit like that, trying to squeeze some more money out of the situation, because that would be good experience for Vergil Ortiz if you think about it. If you think about it, that would be good experience for Vergil Ortiz, to be active, to get 2 fights out of this, to fight an experienced, skilled boxer, to be able to look out for hooks, uppercuts, boxing IQ wise, range, to get that kind of experience from a fighter who's fought top competition, to go into a fight with Jermell Busines, who's unpredictable, that throw shots from unpredictable angles and stuff. And I'm not saying that Lubin fights like Jerome Bucenis, but to get that experience from getting punches from different angles and different strategies and stuff like that, that'd be good experience for Vergil Ortiz if he could win that fight. To be able to face Jerome Bucenis, and depending on how Vergil looks in this fight, probably is going to determine if Oscar's going to go ahead, give him the green light to fight Jerome Bucenis. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how, because when Vergil Ortiz looked bad against before the fight with Aegis Kavalauskas, he was calling out Crawford hard. He was calling out Crawford. Crawford was this. Crawford was scared. Crawford don't want to fight me. And then he went and got Falumaloom by Aegis Kavalauskas. Remember that? Then after that fight, they stopped talking about Crawford. That's when he started having health problems. That's when he started having all these issues down at 147, right? They stopped calling out Crawford after that fight. And it might be the same situation. It might be the same situation when he fights Erick Lubin. If he don't look good fighting Erick Lubin, if he barely makes it past Erick Lubin, I don't think we're going to see that Jerome Bucenis fight, because, you know what I'm saying, especially if they have to run it back, you know what I'm saying, and if he looks good in the second fight, you know what I'm saying, they might put that fight on. It just depends. And then they're going to put the onus on Jerome Bucenis to be able to fight somebody, to fight a big dangerous fight. And if Jerome Bucenis lose that fight, then they won't even have to face Jerome Bucenis at all. So it's a dirty game. It's a dirty game, but that's how they play it. That's how they play it in boxing. Now, hopefully somebody knocks off your top rival so you don't have to face them, right? And that they'll play that game. They'll play that game, you know what I'm saying? And Eric is, you know, he's too complimentary to me of Vergil Ortiz. He's just filled with too many compliments, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's just happy to be get this opportunity to fight Vergil Ortiz, you know what I'm saying? So it's not enough resistance going on, you know, to me. You know what I'm saying? So it looked like they kind of setting it up, like, you know.
I think Vergil has met his match. I think, you know, you got two great fighters going in there on Saturday night.
Let me see. Let me just put it a little bit back. So, you know, he's trying to talk a little bit of shit.
I'm going to tell Rick, I just did the same thing my last fight. I just took less money just so I could stay busy, get myself into title contention. You know, so I think Vergil has met his match. I think, you know, you got two great fighters going in there on Saturday night. And it's gonna be a tremendous match. It's gonna be a tremendous matchup already. I feel like the fans are in for a treat. The boxing world's in for a treat. Spectators in for a treat. It's gonna be a great night of boxing. Everybody tune in on the Zone Saturday night, November 8th. Dia de los Muertos. It's gonna be something special. So you don't want to miss this. It's hammer time. Vergil Ortiz. You know, winner takes all. This is a highly staked matchup. It's I feel like the winner of this fight right here is gonna be in line for one of the biggest fights, not just in the division, but some of the biggest fights in boxing. So you don't want to miss this.
Vergil. Oh, we'll get the version. I think Lubin is selling the fight. I don't know why Vergil Ortiz is so flat, but he always flat in interviews. You know what I'm saying? You know, one thing, you know, David Benavidez, he ain't no flashy guy, but he talks shit though. I love the way David talks, like he talks dominant shit. He talks manly shit, right? Vergil just tried to stay humble. I like the way Erick Lubin is coming in confident. He's talking his shit, but he's doing it in a controlled, laid back manner, you know what I'm saying? But he's selling the fight more than Vergil Ortiz Jr., you know what I'm saying? He wants to be laid back and let the other guy do all the fucking work. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear Vergil Ortiz get a little bit more aggressive on the mic, you know what I'm saying? And just talk his shit about his skills and you know what I'm saying? And hype up the fight just a little bit more, even though the fight don't really need it, because we've been waiting on this kind of competition for a while. So let's see what Vergil talking about. Then we'll get back to the
Vergil, final words for the fans that are here.
What am I supposed to say after that, bro? Like he hit that on the tee. I mean, what he said, he hit it perfectly. But yeah, it's gonna be a good night on Saturday for the boxing fans, for everyone that's coming to support us, and you know, we really appreciate you guys. Fort Worth, Texas, it's gonna be fireworks on Saturday.
9 fights total, Oscar De La Hoya, this main event. I'm pumped after hearing these two.
No, we are pumped, and it's going to be live on the Zone worldwide. You know, we can't wait to see the Dallas Cowboys watching Vergil Ortiz live at Dickies Arena. All the fans, like I said, 10,000.
My bag. I forgot to take down the damn thing so y'all can see it. Um, he said, why the fuck Eddie would be afraid of Vergil Ortiz? He says, why the fuck would Eddie be afraid of Vergil Ortiz? Y'all got to stop. As soon as Boots beat Vergil, they're going to move to go. Of course, they always do. They always do it. Like I said, it always depends on where your allegiance lies. You know what I'm saying? Who you like to it's a popularity contest with a lot of boxing fans instead of just seeing what you see in the ring and you know what I'm saying, and trying to analyze it from that perspective, right? Um it's about who you like, right? For a lot of boxing fans. And my thing is this is such a 50-50 fight. You know what I'm saying? If you think you can call it one way, bro, you tripping. You are really tripping. You know what I'm saying? This is a 50-50 fight. And it says, yes, they are. 2 cents. Talk about 2 cents. Says Blaze says, we're about to find out tomorrow after the fight if Vergil wants to really fight Boots. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Yeah. 2 cents. It's like, why is all this focus is on Boots? You know what I'm saying? When you got Lubin and Ortiz about to fight. It's like, why they worried about Lubin? And like they say, they even said it in the press conference that people are, I think Lubin a little pissed off about that. I think Lubin because they're overlooking Lubin and what he brings to the table. I think Lubin is a little insulted by that. Just like Anthony Yard is being overlooked uh, for um, for the next fight for the Gilberto Ramsey fight, Zerto fight. He's they're already in negotiation with Gilberto Zerto. They're kind of like overlooking Anthony Yard, right? And so Anthony Yard is like, what the fuck? It's like, how y'all gonna overlook me? You know what I'm saying? I fought big names too. I lost, but shit, I still fought big names. I'm still dangerous. So you know, it's Lubin is kind of getting overlooked a little bit because everybody's looking forward to seeing that fight with Vergil Ortiz and Boots, right? And we don't know if that fight's going to really get there, right? We don't know if that's going to happen. So because if Lubin got anything to say about it, he's going to go out there and fight his ass off, bro. And it's going to be real interesting. It's going to be real interesting to see if Vergil is on that level, right? Because if you don't believe Lubin is a damn good fighter, um, you don't know Eric Lubin. You haven't watched his fights, right? You know what I'm saying? Who else you seen knock down Sebastian Fundora? You know what I'm saying? Besides Mendoza and fighters who got, he got a lucky punch, right? So you know what I'm saying? So Erickson Lubin did that shit by boxing, right? You know what I'm saying? He only lost to Jermell Charlo, you know what I'm saying? Because he was inexperienced and stuff like that. But I think he learned from all that. And he's got a lot more, a lot more experience to go out there and show. I don't think he feels intimidated by Vergil Ortiz or is he worried about his pressure, you know what I'm saying? Because one thing about Erickson Lubin, he handles pressure very well. You know what I'm saying? He just got to stop making, the crazy mistakes, by being too lax. He got to keep his sharpness about him in these exchanges. Can he get hurt? Yeah, he get hurt, but Vergil could get hurt too. And it's going to be a battle of which ones could take advantage of the others, you know what I'm saying, of the others' mistakes. And I think Lubin is the better counterpuncher. So, it's going to be a banger for sure. He says, Virgil's like that. Say, get the fuck out of here. And he says, Boots and Vergil would be a good scrap. It's eye candy to real. Yeah. That's why I'm excited about this shit, man. He said, ain't Vergil interim champion? He will be if he win this fight. This is for the WBC interim championship? Yes. He says Boots could never catch up to Bud. No. Bud came in with HBO. He was fighting on HBO when HBO was on. Come on now. The nigga 38 years old. He said, Blaze, he said all that hardcore fan talk about belts. Man, the belts don't mean what they used to mean no more. He says, Blaze, nobody could ever get 13 belts in 6 fights again. It's no comparison. Right. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know why they just, I don't know. I guess because Boots, you know what I'm saying? Once you make an impression with your skills, you know what I'm saying? Boots, you know, he looks really impressive, right? With the uppercuts and the hooks and the way he moves and the way he switches and the way he dips in at the power, the combinations, you know what I'm saying? So people are naturally comparing them to Crawford, you know what I'm saying? I think that upsets a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? And they want to kind of, they kind of want to downplay what they see in the ring, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just how fighters, that's how boxing fans are. You know what I'm saying? They really don't want to see anybody compare them to their favorite legend or their favorite special fighter, right? So that's not usually what happens. He said, I got Boots versus Virgil, but I wouldn't be surprised if Virgil catches Boots with a mean shot and Boots weather the storm. See, we still talk about the next fight. You know what I'm saying? We still talk about the next fight. We don't know if that fight going to even happen, but I understand, everybody wants that fight. If you could replace Erickson Lubin with Jerron Boots Ennis, nobody would have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? I think it'll be an even bigger fight. I think it would be more. I think you would see Vergil Ortiz talk more shit if it was Jerron Boots Ennis. You know what I'm saying? And instead of Eric Lubin, because Jerron Boots Ennis, the stakes go up, and people have more expectations out of Jerron Boots Ennis. So I would think you would see a more amped up Vergil Ortiz. This Vergil Ortiz looked like he's expected to win. You don't sense no sense of urgency. You know what I'm saying? He's laid back. It's like another day at the office. And you see Eric Lubinson a lot more animated than Vergil Ortiz. So it's like, is the fix in or what? You know what I'm saying? This is Blaze, even if they wanted to, they couldn't. He says, let me see. He said Lubin was pieced the fuck up by Fundora. He said I would bet the farm on Virgil. He says although Lubin has a way better chin than people think. He says don't let Jamel Charlo. They're kind of big. They're big. He's a big 154 pounder. So that's what they calling these guys weight bullets because you know what I'm saying? They bigger than the divisions that they're in. They just able to make the weight. And so, you know what I'm saying? So, these guys that's fighting at their natural weight, they fighting guys who should probably be, at higher weight class. They're just able to shrink down and make the weight. So they can absorb, what I'm saying, the punches, right? You know what I'm saying? Lubin was just a little bit too green. You know what I'm saying? He was a normal 154 pounder, you know what I'm saying? And he went out there and got Falumaloon. He had to learn it the hard way. You know. Oh, you want the link? He had to learn the shit the hard way. So it just is what it is. Not everybody's going to be able to compete. You know what I'm saying at that level, especially when you first starting out. Now, could Lubin, if he would have got maybe a tune up at 154, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he would have lasted a little bit longer, got a little bit more experience, you know what I'm saying? And get his mistakes and flaws, work out his mistakes and flaws, and looked at and really studied Jermell Charlo's style. And because Jermell Charlo kind of went from being a boxer to being a boxer puncher. And I think that's really what hurt Lubin and them not really studying Jermell Charlo. They thought maybe he was a little bit slow. And look on the outside looking in, it always looked more simpler than when you get in there. So they got a little bit more speed, a little bit more power than you actually know. You know what I'm saying? Because once you get in there, experience that shit, and he got knocked the fuck out. And it's like, oh my God, this nigga different. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Lubin talk cash shit when it came to Jermell Charlo, talking about he makes mistakes. He ain't, just trying to really get into his head. And he went out and got Falumaloon. It happens. What's going on, 2 cents?
What up, Pool? Man, I put that down like 30 minutes ago. I was like, when Pool gonna drop the link?
I'll be reading the comments and commenting on what people be saying until I don't always go to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? So that should be piling up.
No, but that's
Yeah.
good. I mean, this is because what I wanted to say earlier when you was talking about the Boots and Virgil fight and how Oscar don't have a choice but to make the fight. But I don't know if you watching and seeing what's going on. Boots is constantly getting the blame for the Virgil fight not happening, right? Well, it's two things I want to say. Boots is constantly getting the blame for the Virgil fight not happening. And there will always be somebody that quote unquote people want to see Boots fight, and if he don't fight that person, he'll be all kind of negative things. They did the same thing with Stanionis. When he fought Stanionis, they act like that fight never happened and moved the goalpost. And if you've noticed, Vergil has been attaching himself to the bigger names at 54 and trying to make it seem like they ducking him, like he just did Charlo. He just did it to Charlo. And so
Right.
and so I'm like, y'all don't see what's going on. It's like Boots. If Boots don't fight Vergil, but y'all don't see Garcia coming out talking about, oh, well, Boots gonna need another tune-up. Like, why are they doing that? You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
to me, if they make the fight good, but to me, I don't know if they're trying to create a storyline or drama, but
They are.
if Vergil don't fight Boots next, Vergil is not in a rush to fight him. And I don't think it's fair to say that you can hold a fighter to a higher standard, and that's just a disguise to me of trying to diminish the fighter and control the fighter, right? They say, oh, this person don't need a tune-up. We hold them to a higher standard. Oh, this person need to fight this person. We hold them to a higher standard. Like, that higher standard stuff is just cold for we want to have an excuse to shit on you, basically, and control and try to tell you what to do. Because how are you holding Boots to a higher standard when Vergil been at 154 pounds? Who has he fought? And he's never been a champion when all you ever hear is the hardcore fans cry about is champion. Now all of a sudden Vergil is supposed to be this top competition for Boots when y'all don't even know if he gonna beat Lubin.
And like you said, you made a good point in the comments. Like you were saying, why is everybody concentrating on Boots when it's almost like they're trying to destroy his reputation before he even gets in the game? And my thing is,
Yes.
all
Oh, I
fighters
had one more
are
thing to say.
moving.
Hold on, Paul, not to cut you off. I have one more thing to say. The comparing Boots to Terrence Crawford, it makes absolutely no sense at all. One. Two, the fact that Terrence Crawford and his team keep jumping out the window and getting all emotional when somebody mentioned Boots is very telling to me. And I don't understand how y'all are comparing Boots, who's at the end of his career, and Crawford, who's at the end of his career, and Boots, who's just now coming into his prime. Now, when Crawford was at Top Rank and everybody was ducking him and people was criticizing his resume, y'all said it was because everybody ducked him. But why isn't that the same thing for Boots? If you think about it, their situations are similar. When did Crawford finally get some big fights that people quote unquote perceive to be tough competition? What nobody criticized Crawford. Well, he did get criticized, but I'm saying nobody was crying when Crawford re-signed to Top Rank and blaming Crawford for re-signing to Top Rank why he didn't get the fights. But y'all
I
are
was
blaming
crying.
Boots. I mean, I know, I'm just saying, but y'all were blaming Boots for signing to Eddie Hearn, and y'all are saying, oh, it's not Eddie Hearn's fault he not getting fights, it's Boots' fault he not getting fights because he never signed to Eddie Hearn. So it's almost like the simulations are similar, but y'all perspective on them are the opposite, just so you can try to diminish and devalue Boots, and I don't think that's fair. Comparing Boots to Crawford when Boots is just getting in his prime and Crawford is at the end of his career. I mean, Crawford is the best fighter to infinity and beyond. You can't compare him to anybody. He's the exception and not the standard. So I just don't understand why they're doing that. The comparison doesn't even make any sense, and it make Crawford and his fans look very insecure, in my opinion.
Well,
And
I'm
that's
gonna
my
answer
2
that.
cents.
Well, I'm gonna answer that for you, 2 cents. The reason why they do that is because if you think about it, Terrence Crawford hasn't had a lot of time in the limelight. You know what I'm saying? He only started blowing up after he beat Erickson Jr. To boxing insiders, you know what I'm saying, who always followed Crawford, but hardcore fans that they're very fanatical when it comes to Bud Crawford and the credit that he gets. And then once you watch Bud Crawford, the way he moves, he always have this narrative that nobody really, gave him credit for any of the fights that he fought. So once he beats Erickson Jr., he's got this whole victim explosion thing going on where I told you, say everybody mad that say now I'm here. And then he goes on to beat Maginov, and then he beats Canelo. So he only had a short window to be famous. You know what I'm saying? Well, certain fighters like Errol Spence Jr., they had a lot of cachet, just from the promotions he was getting with the Dallas Cowboys. So he was in the limelight, and everybody was like looking at him like he's a star. Well, Crawford just bust down the scene when he beat Errol Spence Jr. They start looking at Crawford. Who is this guy? You know what I'm saying? He still have, if it wasn't for that Netflix or that Errol Jr. fight, he really didn't sell a lot of pay-per-views. People really wasn't paying to see Crawford like that until he beat Spence. So you had maybe the last 2 or 3 years, 2 years that Crawford has been on the scene to become this legendary figure that everybody's, giving credit. So now Bud Crawford fans, they want that shit to last. So now he's being compared to some up and coming new start, Jerron Boo Simmons. Yeah, they're gonna get on him because Crawford hasn't had enough time to do his victory laps to be the best boxing champion in the world. What I'm saying, they don't want that shine to end. What I'm saying, they want it to last as long as possible. So it seems like it's kind of short because people are now tired and want to move on, but they don't want people to move on because Crawford has had such a limited time in the spotlight. So now when you got somebody else you think could beat Crawford, it's like, what the hell? It's like, let this man have another victory lap. So he just had a parade in Omaha. You know what I'm saying? Let this man, bask in the glory of being a 3-time undisputed champion. You know what I'm saying? Let's do that for about goddamn 6 months. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So the
I
hell,
think nobody really, and I say this loosely, right? I don't think anybody cares about your 3-time undisputed because fans, not the hardcore fans want to see you fight fights that they perceive to be competitive. They're not going to be like, oh, we don't want to see you fight these fights we perceive to be competitive because you fighting for belts. They don't care about that for real. They really don't. And so it's like everybody want to make Crawford out to be this star, but like in 10 years from now, what fights are you going to be talking about from Terrence Crawford? The Earl Spence fight, maybe the Canelo fight, but that'll be it. No, nobody gonna think about it. When we talk about the greats in the past pool, do we talk about the belts they had?
no,
Do we ever talk about the belts? Never.
ever,
So in the
never.
future, he's gonna be like, oh, he was this undisputed, cool, but nobody's going to really, you feel me? Nobody, you don't have enough of those fights under your belt, in my opinion, to be remembered like
But
that.
that's but 2 cents. That's why they making this victory lap last so long, right? Because these are his 2 signature fights, right? The Errol Spence Jr. fight, the Canelo fight, and they want that shit. He's the face of boxing now, for everybody, right? So now you got this new upstart where they're saying they want to see the fight between Boots and Terrence Crawford when there's a whole vast of experience and years between them. To real boxing fans, that shit don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, that is a fight that can't happen unless Crawford want that fight to happen. You know what I'm saying? He's all the way up unless Boots come up to 168 and challenge Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Or come wherever, meet Crawford somewhere. You know what I'm saying? They agree on that, and Crawford want that fight. You know what I'm saying? See, Crawford ain't ready. He don't want people to have access to him. Just like when Floyd became the man after he beat Oscar De La Hoya, there was a lot of fighters that turned him down. There was a lot of fighters. There was Sugar. He gave Sugar Shane Mosley the fight, but he really didn't want to fight Sugar Shane Mosley. It was a lot of fighters that he wanted to fight that didn't give him the opportunity. It's the same with Crawford. He don't want to give a lot of fighters the opportunity to fight him because now he's the man, and he said it himself. You know what I'm saying? That when he asked to fight these guys, they didn't want to fight him. So now he's the man on top. He don't want to give them the opportunity to fight him. So, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy the way this shit worked. But Crawford, he's an old guy. He could do what he want to do. I don't think he has to fight anybody he don't want to fight. I don't think it makes him less than a fighter. He should just go on off into the sun. If he's gonna fight David Benavidez, I think that's the way to go for him. You know what I'm saying? If he wants to make more of a legacy, you know what I'm saying? Or he could fight the boys down at 160. What's his name? Janabek. He fight Janabek.
And then can you, how many fights Janabek got, Pool?
I don't even know. Shit, you can look it up. I don't know, but he's up there. Janabek, he's a unified champion, so you know what I'm saying.
But dude, and that's the thing with Janabek. Like, I think I was talking about this on my live. I was like, at this point, and I see Bud buddies in the chat being emotional, talking about just because you don't like Crawford. This ain't got nothing to do with like. This, I don't make my opinions based off how I feel. Like, y'all men do that on this app. I don't understand why, but that's what y'all do. But what I was saying is, do you really want to see Crawford fight Janabek? Like, cool, you would get 4-time undisputed. That'll be great accomplishment or whatever. But
I would. I think Janabek is skilled, highly skilled. That would be. I think that would be a good fight because Janabek got some skills, man.
To fight
I
the
think that'd
best
be a good
player,
fight.
to fight the best fighter in the multiverse. Like at this point, who's good enough? Who's good enough to compete with Crawford? I feel like he's completed boxing.
Well, like you say, he's 38. I think that gives Janabek a chance. You know what I'm saying? Him being older. I think with Victor Conte being dead, I think that's going to give him a chance. I think people are interested in that fight. Unless
Man,
you got
trust me, Victor Conti's legacy will continue on. If you ask me,
shit, he must be got some shit in the jar on the shelf in the gym. You know what I'm saying?
but
Because mm,
but I don't know. I mean, it's like at this point, it's like that's cool, Crawford. Get your 4-time undisputed. But to me, it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like I'm over it.
well, I mean, because like I said, if he fights David Benavidez, that's going to be a legacy fight for Crawford.
He's not
You
fighting
know,
David Benavidez.
I know, but I'm just saying he would get more credit for beating David Benavidez or somebody at 168 if he fight that what's his name, Hashier or whatever or fight Mabillup guy. Christian Billup at 168. If he fight any of those guys,
And
Crawford's gonna
Billy,
get a lot of M. Billy. If he fight him or
you
not
know
to
why he's
let
not gonna fight him?
why?
Because it's probably not a good style matchup. Like he's gonna fight somebody at a higher weight class, like a Canelo. We all know Canelo struggle with movers and this and that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if he can match up stylistically with somebody else at 68, he would fight him. But you because he don't match up stylistically with Benavidez.
But I'm saying, as far as competitive wise, you're talking about competitive fights, and I say he
He's
would get a
not
lot of.
trying to be competitive. He's trying to
I
make sure he can.
understand that. I understand that. But I'm saying if he wants to have credibility as far as furthering his legacy, those are the fights to have. You know what I'm saying? And he might even get credit for beating Carlos Adames down at 160. I know you saw the sparring match between them. That would be a good matchup. So, like I said, loosely he can do pretty much what he wants because of what he's accomplished. So to me, it's kind of like a dead situation. Whatever he decides to do, it'll be on Crawford terms anyway, because he's going to be the A side in any situation that you put him in. So, you know what I'm saying? So we just have to wait and see what Crawford's going to do. But as far as Boots, I want to see him, I want to see him like what he looked like at 154. I want to see if he's going to be that same dude. But one thing I'm not going to do is start downplaying, what he
Hmm.
might do. I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Devin, the same that they doing to Devin. So many people got Devin knocked out in this Brian Norman Jr. fight. And I'm
I
just
think
like,
Devin
bro,
gonna win.
yeah, I think Devin gonna try to knock him out.
I don't know about that now.
I don't know about it either, but what I'm saying is I'm looking at the way this fool training. Now, I hope he don't overtrain because I don't know if he's just doing that shit for the cameras. You know what I'm saying? This
You seen
nigga
his
beat
new pictures?
mm-mm, mm-mm.
Go to my if you can go to my community page, I get some pictures up of Debo Dev.
Well, I seen how he been buffing up, but I don't know if those are new pictures on it.
Yeah,
I don't know
he looks huge, fool.
man. I'm talking about, bruh, shit. It could now I'm just putting this out there. You know what I'm saying? What if Devin weakness is just because what I'm saying he was killing himself to make 135
Yeah,
and
that's what I think. Part of it. That's part of the reason why. This is the thing. I feel like if Devin is okay mentally, because physically we could see all that running around he did. He didn't get tired. Like he was physically okay his last fight. It's the mental that is the question mark for me. And I think if his mental is straight, I could see him outboxing Norman. I don't know about knocking him
yeah.
out though.
Well, I mean, if he gets aggressive and because the thing about Brian Norman, this is my thing about Brian Norman Jr. is the big fight atmosphere. And then he's got so much at stake. Once you start putting emphasis and emotions on, the way he's been going at Dev, what I'm saying, about not being real and all this shit, making it personal, then that puts a lot of pressure on you to go out there and perform. And it's hard to execute when everybody has these great expectations for you to, and then he said he's gonna knock out Dev. So that's a lot of pressure you putting on yourself to perform. and you never been on a stage this big. You fought Jinsaki, you fought whatever the other dude name was. You know, those are good fights, but that's not Devin Haney, who's been at the big fight. You know, he's been on the big fight level for a long time. So Devin's going to know how to regulate, you know what I'm saying, that emotion, that atmosphere. And I'm just waiting to see what Brian Norman Jr., what he looked like when he's put on the spot. You know what I'm saying? And he has to perform. All the pressure is on him to go out there and get the knockout. You know, Devin, all he has to do is be, you know what I'm saying, that Devin that fought Regis Prograis, fast, moving, you know what I'm saying? If he could do the same performance that he did against Regis Prograis, you know what I'm saying, be sharp, move out the way, you know what I'm saying? Don't get caught up into the exchanges and stuff. He's gonna beat Brian Norman Jr. in my opinion.
I think he
If
can
not,
do it. A lot of people are saying maybe the size because they're like, oh, he's not as small as Regis. I get that. I just don't see it. I just don't think Brian Norman is. He's not that. I want to say he's not that good to me, but when I say that, people think I mean like he's not a good fighter, and I don't mean that. I'm just saying that.
I know what you're saying. He don't seem to have the attributes to be able to catch a moving fighter like that. Because if you look
Right.
at his fight, if you look at his fights, all them dudes come to him. All of them. All of them come straight to him and they underestimate him. You know what I'm saying? Because he got that uppercut. He's got that, you know what I'm saying, where he manipulates your guard and he gets in that uppercut to the body and he gets a lot of power. But I've never seen him like really track down somebody that's moving like that. So that'd be interesting to see if Brian Norman could cut that ring off, trap Devin, and you know what I'm saying, hurt him, put some hurt on him, and slow him down for the fight for the knockout. You know, that
But let me
shit.
get my 2 cents on the fight because I keep telling people, right? Brian Norman footwork is not that good, Paul. Like you should see
I,
my son's
I know.
footwork. Both of them. Both my son's footwork. We get compliments about their footwork all the time. Their footwork is elite. And I'm not just saying that because they my son. Their footwork is elite. And
Not even a little bit, because you they mama. Not even a
not
little
even a
bit.
little because I didn't even believe it. People had to kept come telling me and my husband, like, oh, they footwork, they footwork, they footwork. And I'm looking at my husband like, I mean, they footwork all right, but it ain't the greatest to us. But to everybody else, they like they footwork elite. But whatever. So and people don't like fighting them because of their footwork. Like they get ducked a lot in amateurs. Can you believe that? But anyway, so I'm watching Brian Norman's footwork and I'm like, his stance, in my opinion, is too wide, right? And some people are like, well, his stance is that wide so he can get more power and leverage on his shots. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But if Devin is spinning and turning him, he's going to be stuck. And he'll never be able to get in position and set his feet to let those power shots off.
See that,
So,
but go ahead, go ahead.
and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if Devin fights like that, then what is Brian Norman gonna do? And I don't know how good Brian Norman's IQ is, even though Devin don't got the greatest IQ. But I think the biggest thing in this fight, if Brian Norman can make Devin have to make adjustments, he has a very good chance of winning this fight because Devin is good at executing a game plan, but he's not very good at making adjustments, and neither is Bill.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what Brian Norman Jr. He said. He throws punches from some crazy angles. You know, he put some really strange angles on his punches. And Devin, we know Devin. You know, what I'm saying, if he don't see them hooks very well. You know, if he fights Brian in that pocket, you know, what I'm saying, it's gonna be suicide. You know, because Brian, you know, he could hit you with that punch that you don't see. Um, and like you said, I don't think that Brian Norman Jr. footwork is all that great. You know what I'm saying? Because you know he maneuvers in a little space. You know what I'm saying? He got a little leaping shot that he does. You know what I'm saying? But usually he got to have that hand out there. You know what I'm saying, to measure you to try to get that shot off. If that's the one shot that he's dependent on, you know what I'm saying, the clip Dev, I don't think it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have to get in range, even though he does have a long reach. Devin going to have to really get his range early in that fight because he got to know where the danger zone is, and Brian can get your ass up out of there. Um, so I think Devin's going to be extra sharp because I think he knows that he needs this fight to advance. You know what I'm saying? To bring his detractors, you know what I'm saying, to believe in him because he's lost a lot of he lost a lot of credibility in that Ryan Garcia fight, getting caught with that left hook. Now people are questioning is Devin top is a top fighter now. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's gonna come out and he's gonna like really try to make a statement in this fight. He got to, you know what I'm saying? Because if not, then he's gonna fall to the bottom.
But the only reason why they questioning is he a top fighter is because they wasn't honest about Ryan Garcia. They kept saying he a D-level fighter and a C-level fighter. And Paul, you remember I kept telling y'all this is a terrible style matchup
I
fight for
still
Devin.
think I still think he's a shitty fighter. I don't think he's dedicated to the sport. I think he got up for Devin. I think he did fucking PEDs because he wasn't confident that he could beat him. You saw what he looked like in his
That's
last
the
fight.
worst I ever seen Ryan Garcia, to be honest with you.
I'm trying to tell you, you know, the shit is inconsistent, right? Shit is inconsistent.
Devin, and then Devin tried to step to him like the game plan was horrible.
But
Like,
that's good though. That's good because Devin really got the mind of a fighter. He just don't have the chin or the power. But you know, yeah, think about that. Think about that. I mean, not trying to blow Devin up, but you want a guy that's willing to take risk. You know what I'm saying in the fight. You know what I'm saying. If Devin was like Shakur Stevenson, you know what I'm saying, who falls back all the goddamn time, and anytime somebody flinch, that nigga on the other side of the ring. You know what I'm saying? Devin trying to fight. He's trying to find the holes and try. You know, he just wasn't. You know, he just wasn't able to see that Ryan got fucking lightning hands, right? And then you got that stuff on top of it. Shit, Ryan. You know, you can't fight Ryan like that. So you know, he underestimated him. He gave up a lot of concessions. And you know, but if it, have them run that back on an even playing field and see if the same thing happens. And if it does, then it is what it is. But if Devin beats him, then you got to say, you know, hey, it was Ryan had that extra help. You know what I'm saying? You got to really give it up like that. So I think Devin got a lot to prove. You know what I'm saying? He really got to make a statement in this fight because they're looking at Brian Norman Jr. like he's the best at 147. That's what they're saying. And even though he hasn't even went through the damn
can we talk
division.
about that? Can we talk about that real quick? How is Brian Norman the best at 147 pool? This is my thing with the 47 division, right? There is no best there. We have to let it. Everybody keeps saying the 147 division is trash. And I say that's good. I'm glad that it's trash. That means nobody's levels above nobody. That means all the fights we see at 47 will be 50-50 fights. And that means we got to watch the division and see how it shake up to see who the best is. You can't just arbitrarily give somebody the best in a division where y'all are saying everybody is trash. It has to. They have to compete and shake up, and we have to see. You can't just assume that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, like, that's why I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it. Like, what from makes you think?
Let me ask you this: who you think is better than Brian Norman Jr.? You know, what I'm saying at 147, because that's what everybody. That's the consensus.
I think Karen Kukadajian could probably beat Brian Norman. I think Karen Kukadajian.
Oh shit, that's a damn good. Damn, that's a damn good. I didn't even think about that.
I think
or Sandor Martin or
Sandor Martin. I think Rolly could probably beat Brian Norman. Hell, Ryan Garcia probably could beat Brian Norman. Like you just don't know.
Yeah, and see that's my thing. That's my thing though. 2 Cent. It's like he don't have enough experience for people to make these assumptions that because you know he haven't like really fought everybody. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't really fought everybody. So you know you don't really.
You really don't. And then we doing all this because he beat Kawasaki. Like the dude didn't even have his hands up in the fight. Like, come on, man. We cannot arbitrarily try to give people these labels and just so you could say, oh, well, Devin's the best at 47 because he beat one. No, the division got to shake up. And to me, I'm going to enjoy watching the 47 division because when is the last time we had a flat division like this where we got to see who come out on top?
Right.
What's up, Too Rich?
What's up, Too Rich? What's happening, bro?
Man, what's going on, Pool? What's going on, 2 Cent? Man, I'm just listening to y'all talk it up, man. Great fight coming up with Haney. Well, you know, the fight this weekend too, but Haney and Norman, man. I'm leaning Norman, but I'm a Devin fan, man. But practically, I would say the safe bet is Norman. He a slight favorite, and I think that's about right. Just slightly favored. But I would say this for anybody that think it's a wash for Norman. if the fight ended last night and didn't nobody see it, and I said, well, the fight ended, Norman didn't knock Devin out, and he didn't score a knockdown, who would you say won that fight?
I'm sorry. Say that again. I
Devin.
was saying
If I said that the fight happened and Norman didn't knock Devin out and didn't score a knockdown, who would you think won the fight?
Devin.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think people gotta understand knockouts are a low percentage thing. It's like a 3-point shot. Even though we see people hit them all the time, they actually a lower percentage than we think. So the thought that Norman's gonna walk in there and just knock Devin out, I'm not really believing it like that. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I think it's more of a chance that he doesn't knock Devin out than knocks him out. So the question gonna become: can Norman outbox Devin, or can he do enough or hurt him, aesthetically to the look that he beats Devin in a 12-round fight?
No.
I think that's tough. That's tough.
It's a no, bro. Brian Norman is not boxing like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I say that's what it's gonna come down to. That's what it's gonna come down to. I mean, it's just a good fight. It's a good fight.
Well, let me ask
And
y'all
that's
this.
why this fight is enjoyable, because I feel like the fans are kind of split on it, right? It's not too much Norman, it's not too much Devin. And we don't know who's going to win. And that's what's exciting about it. Like, we really don't know. We don't know. You cannot definitively say this person or that person. And we're going to get a lot of fights like that at the 47-pound division. And that's exciting. So I don't know why people keep saying they trash.
Well,
Yeah.
they saying that because they don't have the cachet or the name like that. I think Brian Norman Jr. got the because of the shit he talking and being on everybody's platform, his daddy. He's coming out like Devin's father. You know what I'm saying? He's getting a lot of publicity, and they're trying to make him this big name and this big special fighter, right? You got Tay Jones that's promoting him too, because that's his homeboy, and they kind of like trying to put his name out there to make him a big star and everything. So the narrative is being spent about Brian. He got his sparring, the history of his sparring. You know what I'm saying? Giving different fighters trouble, giving Boots trouble in sparring, and so there's a lot of mystique he's building. He's building himself up, and I think people are looking at him like he's on another level before he prove it, right? So Devin got that to contend with, and then Devin got a lot of negativity against him. People think he's food. Think he's food for Brian Norman Jr. So that's why this fight is so damn good. But who you got in this Eric Lubin versus Vergil Ortiz Jr. fight? Who you got?
I got Vergil, man. I got Vergil. I think Lubin is good, but his last, I thought he lost against Ramos, and his last fight, he wasn't looking good until he looked good. You see what I mean? Until he really won the fight. So I think Lubin is good, but I think Vergil is more talented, man. I think he's more talented, but I wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised of an upset, because Lubin is back on a winning streak, and he was a guy that people believed in early. He just kind of maybe took some tough fights with Charlo and whatever that kind of sidetracked him. But he was a guy they was expecting big things out of him when he was with Top Rank. So, I can't take that away from him. He back. He's here. So we're going to see. But I would slightly favor Vergil, man, because Vergil get hit, man. To me, a lot like Boots, where he's talented, but you can't hit him. He's been dropped. And I don't think he want to go in there that Lubin going upside his head. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I would favor Vergil slightly. But once again, that's a good fight, man. That's a good fight where I think Vergil should be a slight favorite.
So you don't think it's 50-50? It's just a little look like maybe a 60-40 type of situation?
Yeah, I'm looking at more of a 60-40, man. I mean, I got to give Vergil credit for the resume. He coming in here facing some good competition. I say 64, not a blowout by no means, because Vergil gonna be in a tough fight, man. He seemed like he always in a tough fight. So, but maybe 55-45, 60-40 in that range.
Yeah. Did I? Yeah, I put the link out if you want to come back 2 cents. I think people underestimate. I think people don't really know who Lubin is. I think they underestimate Lubin and what he brings to the table. They don't realize that Lubin is more skilled. than Vergil Ortiz. Like you said, he's more talented. I think Vergil's more talented because he got a little bit more power and he does have the skills to do certain things in the ring. But I think his durability, his power is what separates him from a lot of the fighters. His tenacity, his intensity when he fights, his ability to surge when he get hurt. You could hurt Vergil Ortiz and knock him down, but he's gonna come back strong.
Exactly.
You're gonna have to prepare. Lubin is gonna have to prepare for that surge, because just like when Fundora, when he hurt Fundora, and Fundora had a surge. You know what I'm saying? He came back with a surge after he took that knee, and he took time to gather his thoughts. He didn't just get right up. He took the count up to about 9, and then he got up and he kicked Lubin ass. You know what I'm saying? Hit him with about 60 uppercuts, right? So he's gonna have the same kind of situation if he hurts Vergil Ortiz. If he gets in there and he knocks down Vergil Ortiz and he hurts Vergil, oh my God, get ready. Get ready, because Vergil, once he gets embarrassed, he turns into a whole nother type of fighter. For about 10, 15 seconds, you're going to have unadulterated power coming at you. You know what I'm saying? And if Eric Lubin if he can't weather that tide, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be lights out for him. We know how Vergil fights. He gets emotional, and he becomes a brawler once you hurt him. And it's hard to see if Lubin can survive that. You know what I'm saying? We know Vergil, he's gonna have to knock Vergil ass out. You know what I'm saying? For him to respect you. That's why I like this fight, because Vergil is like an extreme force, right? You're gonna have to hurt him. You know what I'm saying? To keep him off your ass. That's what, Aegis Kavalauskas had to hurt that dude, and he still came back. You know what I'm saying? After Aegis knocked him down and shit, he's still going forward. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love this dude. It reminds me of the Oscar De La Hoya days, when Oscar used to hit you with that left, when he was in trouble, and he hit you with that damn left hook. That shit just came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, this is going to be the same kind of fight. It's going to be back and forth until somebody gets hurt, and whoever got the best punch resistance, is going to come out on top. You know, because I do see Vergil getting dropped in this fight, because I think Eric Lubin is hyped up. I think he's back on his shit. You know, where he knows this is his last opportunity to become a real name and a real force at the 154 division. He knows that if he loses this one, he's going to be on the level of a journeyman, and he don't want that. You know, he wants to be the top dog up in this thing, and I think he's going to put everything he's got to keep his status, right? And he got nothing to lose. He ain't got shit to lose.
He ain't got nothing to lose.
Those are the most dangerous fighters. Those are the most dangerous ass fighters. When they back up against the rope, they ain't got nothing to lose. Vergil, the one who has the reputation, you know what I'm saying, that and the pressure to perform in this fight. Lubin, all he has to do is upset the apple cart. You know what I'm saying? If he fights Vergil to a controversial win, they have to run it back. That's a second fight. So all he has to do is just be competent, make Vergil Ortiz look human, and he got him a second fight. So it's a win-win situation. It's a win-win situation for Eric Lubin. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean to cut you off. What you was thinking, Rich?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I was gonna piggyback on what you just said about Vergil, because that's why I was trying to think of the word. But I like Vergil intangibles better. Like you say, his fight, his heart. He getting knocked down, he come back harder. And my only thing with Lubin, just looking at the last couple fights, it seems like even when he's winning, he could put it in cruise control sometimes. So, like you say, in this fight, the first 6 rounds is what Lubin could win this fight. But he got to turn up. He gonna have to turn up, like you say on Vergil. He gonna have to turn up. He damn near, like you said, gonna have to stop him, because Vergil ain't gonna stop, man. He's not gonna stop. And Vergil could be knocked down. I'm not big into pressure fighters, because I know the flaw of that sometimes. Vergil gonna take knockdown because he's too much of a pressure fighter, that he could get caught coming in, and sometimes it could be an off balance shot, good shot, but because he's coming in so hard, he could get kind of caught off balance a little bit. So I do see early Lubin being able to have some success, but those middle rounds and maybe even late, is he still gonna have it? Like that last fight, he did come back and win that fight. And I was shocked because I was just like, damn, Lubin ain't looking like I want. He was looking good early. Then those middle rounds, he kind of slowed down a little bit. So I'm like, you're not gonna be able to do that against Vergil. You're not gonna have the time to do it, But this is a fight though that Lubin can make a name for himself. And I was looking at, I'm gonna land my plane right here. I was looking at a interview earlier with Vergil. And he looked a little weight drained to me. His eyes was big. He was moving his mouth a little funny, I think he know he's in for a fight, man. And I'm not gonna be shocked if Lubin pull it, because it's gonna be all about Lubin if he pull it out.
What's going on, King Judah in the building? What's happening, my brother? What's happening? Welcome back to Full Counter Boxing, bro. What's up?
Man, what's up, Paul? Look, man, I was looking at the title, and I hear a lot of people talking about, of course, everybody giving their predictions, the fight coming up, but so this how I had a fight. So I think that Lubin is a much better fighter than Vergil, like much better. As a matter of fact, if this the same Lubin they got knocked out by Jermell Charlo, Lubin wins easy. Even that Lubin wins easy against Vergil Ortiz, right? But I think with the wars he's been into, and I don't know how old he is, but it seems like he's been around forever. I don't know how old Lubin is, but I think the only thing that'll make him, two things that'll make him lose this fight to Vergil is getting old in the ring, or just being too worn out from the wars he's been in. And I think the judges against him too. So this is my prediction. I got Lubin actually looking better than Vergil throughout the fight, regardless of the outcome. But I do believe that if he don't knock Vergil down or knock him out, he is going to get robbed regardless. That's
even if he knock him down. He got knocked down 2 times in the Bogachev fight. They ain't give a damn.
Yeah, I think even if he knocks it, you're right. Even if he knock him down, he probably still getting robbed. He would have to knock Vergil out to win this fight.
And you know why? Because Vergil gonna be coming with pressure, and they're gonna be looking at that pressure. Like I try to tell people, he did not walk over Madrimov. That was a closer fight, but Vergil was applying pressure, which looks good to the eyes. You see what I mean? So Lubin gonna have to, but he gonna have opportunities because of the pressure. But Lubin gonna have opportunities.
It's that you're right. It's that and the fact that they know Canelo on his way out. They looking for the next Hispanic superstar. That's why Ryan Garcia got another title shot. They are looking for the next Mexican superstar. So that's why Vergil got it. Vergil got, look right now. The fight ain't even started yet, and Vergil already up 4 rounds already. He up 4 rounds already. So that's basically what's going on, bro. So, but again, I like Lubin. Bro. And if I was a bid man, I'm not a bid man. I wish I had it in me to be like y'all, bro. Because I heard that if you bet 100 on Lubin, you can win 500 if you win. So that sounds like a good deal to me. But long story short, I like Lubin, bro, but I just don't know. You know what I'm saying? How old is Lubin? Can anybody tell me how old he is? I don't know how old he is.
He's 30 years old.
Yeah, I was about to say 30. But if you look at Vergil and you look at Eric Lubin, even though he talks a lot of good talk, and he just don't have that charisma. He don't have that. He's a highly skilled fighter. He's got all the intangibles, right, to be a great fighter. But it's like he lacks something that's just, I don't know if it's just the Haitian shit. I don't know what it is, but it's just, he's just a little bit too, he don't have it. He don't have that charisma thing, even though he can talk that talk. He can fight his ass off, but I don't know what it is. It's something off about his charisma, because I thought that he did well in the press conference. It just didn't come over like it would if it was somebody else, like a Jerron Booth. He just don't have that. He don't have that glow. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be hard, man. It's going to be hard. He's going to have to put in a good performance, an excellent performance, to get that kind of momentum that he's going to need to carry him through the 154 division. Because long as he's been at the 154 division, I have never seen anybody really talk about Lubin. I've never seen anybody, even when he wins, there's nobody, he's never on anybody podcast where they just, giving him all the praise. He's just not one of them fighters that just elicit a lot of conversation. Now, I talk about him, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm impressed by what I see. But ever since he lost that Sebastian Fundora fight, man, it's been hard for this dude to climb out of the hole, man. It's like, I don't care. Like you said, he's been on a winning streak, but nobody's like really impressed by how he's winning these fights. You know what I'm saying? So now he's
I,
looking like an underdog against Vergil Ortiz Jr. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think
So it's just, yeah, go ahead.
no, my bad, bro. I was saying, I think the perception of him, like you said, you're right though. You know, no, it seemed like no matter what he do, people have written him off as like a gatekeeper at best, and I think it's because of what happened to him. He got knocked out by Charlo. He got beat up. Well, not beat. You know, he got beat on by Fundora. But I think the fight was give and take. But see, he just looked worse. But they was actually beating on each other. Him and Fundora, they was beating on each other. He just looked worse, right? But I think what people miss about Lubin, everybody can talk about them two fights, but what you're missing is those are two fights that he took with no hesitation against really, really good fighters. Nobody talk about the fact that neither one of those dudes were bums. You see what I'm saying? We cannot say that a bum ever did nothing to Lubin, ever.
Yeah, yeah. Like you say, he lost to top competition. But you know how it is. Once you lose one fight, that's one thing. In this era of boxing, then once you lose two fights to top
Yeah.
competition, you know that's just the way the casuals and that's the way the writers and stuff gonna write you off. That's how they're gonna promote you from now on. Some of them might make that distinction that he lost the top guys. You know what I'm saying? But for the boxing public, they're gonna look at you, man. You done lost two fights, dude. You ain't shit. So it's
You know what I
like,
like about him though? You know what I like about him? What he said though? I'm gonna let you. I just want to get this out real quick, bro. I like what he said though. I like his mindset. Not Vergil. Lubin said they asked him about the fight, bro. He said, yeah, he said I'm here to spoil the show. He said Boots think he getting Vergil next. He said I'm about to put a wrench in all of that. Bro, he remind me of how Lamar Roach was talking before he fought Tank. So I like that. I like the energy, bro. And the way he said it, bro, I believe him. Like I really believe he coming in here to mess this up.
that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at.
Hey, I'm gonna say this. I think he's in the right place he's supposed to be. I mean, at the end of the day, you know you want the fights. You got to the top of the division. You lost twice. Like you say, okay, one time they can give you that. But you know how they go. Once you lose to one big fighter, they throw you in with another big fighter. You know, that's how they did Madrimov. He lost Crawford. Okay, we're gonna put you in there with Ortiz. And then just like Madrimov, once you lose those two against the top of the division, yeah, they're gonna drop you down some. So I always say if boxing gonna become good again, you have to have one of these guys take losses like he did, then come back and beat a name. This your fight right here to come back. This is the fight that you come back. But at the end of the day, Vergil Ortiz have never been a champion, man. He's never been a champion. He's just like you. He really know that. I get it, he undefeated, but we done seen he lost that board Chuck fight to me. He lost that board Chuck fight. We done seen him drop numerous amount of times. This is Lubin's fight to win to put him back on the map. As it should be. Beat somebody. Here you go.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect, man. This is his fight. This is his fight to lose or win, to put it. And he said it himself. He said that himself. This is the fight that he needs, you know what I'm saying, to put himself back in the game. But at the same time, we don't know where Lubin is right now, physically, you know what I'm saying, mentally, you know what I'm saying. Do we have that same kind of will to win, intensity, you know what I'm saying? Can he go toe to toe with a Vergil Ortiz? If he have to get Vergil Ortiz off him, can he beat him in those exchanges? Because we know that Vergil Ortiz is a tough motherfucker when it comes to being in that pocket and going for what you know. And you got to get this dude up off you. And see, Lubin like to put his back against those ropes, which is a big no-no against Vergil Ortiz. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He would have to catch Vergil can get caught in between shots because he just be throwing them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? He just throwing them without even worried about the return. And that's where Lubin can really take advantage. We don't know if Lubin is on that shit. If he's sharp enough to punch in between Vergil Ortiz punches, then he got a chance to win this thing. Because one thing we know about Vergil Ortiz is that he's going to be pressing forward. He's going to be trying to get Lubin back against those ropes. And we know Lubin to let motherfuckers put his back against the ropes. He would do that. You know what I'm saying? He got confidence. He's not uncomfortable with backing up against those ropes and doing his thing. But one thing we know, he's going to have to be on point if he's going to allow Vergil to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because if he get caught, man, he's gonna get folded, bro. Because Lubin chin ain't all that. His chin ain't all that, So he's gonna have to battle. He's gonna have to turn off those ropes with check hooks. You know what I'm saying? He cannot allow Vergil Ortiz to cut that ring off on him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's gonna have to check hook his all night long pivot on, because Vergil is not good at really tracking fighters in fighting and fighting while punching while he's moving. He's got to get set. He got to have them feet set. So if Lubin can box, get on his boxing game and bring his A game, you know what I'm saying, and move when the danger comes, shit, he might make this shit look easy. Because that's the same thing Boots gonna do to him. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing Boots gonna do to him. He's gonna move. He's gonna pivot. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna punch in between his shots. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna box that fool. So Lubin, if he stay boxing, I think he'll beat Vergil Ortiz. But if he let Vergil Ortiz press him against the ropes, he's gonna break him down. He's gonna break Lubin down, and he's gonna wear him down till he can knock him out. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm seeing. But I think Lubin has a good chance, you know what I'm saying, if he uses his skills correctly.
Hey, a trick that I ain't gonna say a trick, but a thing that the Mexican fighters do, and Canelo do the same thing. I noticed with Canelo, when you look at his punch output, it's not a lot in the beginning of the fight, but toward the end of the fight, his punch output actually goes up, even though it's no knockout. What they're doing is stealing rounds. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
They know the aesthetics of, they need to see you throwing punches. So that's how the message is gonna come. So regardless how the first part of the fight go, toward the end of that fight, Vergil is gonna be coming. He's gonna be throwing an ass load of punches. So Lubin gonna have to be dialed in. If it go all 12, he's gonna have to be dialed in all 12. Is to not let Vergil steal the win when he getting a little tired and letting Vergil just throw a bunch of punches, whether they landed or not. The aesthetics gonna be Vergil applying pressure, and he's throwing a lot of punches. Now we saw Shakur Stevenson deal with it with Zepeda, because he was a sharp shooter, and that's what Lubin gonna have to do. He gonna have to see in between all that, and he gonna have to sneak some punches in between Vergil punches and catch them. You see what I mean? It's gonna have to be visual though, because Vergil is gonna be coming full pressure.
Yeah, but the thing with that is, see, they understand that the last 4 rounds, the championship rounds is the rounds you need to win. The 11th and 12th, very important. So how you look, because when he got knocked down by Bocachev, you see how he came on in the end, right? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We know it's very important to win those championships. It still means something. You know what I'm saying? How you look in the last 2 rounds? Are you trying to make the fight? You know what I'm saying? Are you pressing forward? You know what I'm saying? And I think the Mexicans understand that, because, they are ready for a reason to give you the fight. You just got to go out there. Because,
you just got to give them a reason. Yep.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So they understand how important that is, especially if you already know that, the fix is in. They want it, like you said, looking for a reason to give you the fight. So they, if you're coming on at the end, Oscar De La Hoya used to do that shit. Come on at the end. You know what I'm saying? Throw caution to the wind and try to knock you out. So they say, oh, this man went for it. You know what I'm saying? They used to always say, Larry Merchant used to always say, Roy Jones Jr. and Mayweather, you're no Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya would go for it. It's like, bro, get the fuck out of here, man. They've been dominating the whole goddamn fight with good boxing and stuff. And just because, you know what I'm saying, they don't go all out, you know what I'm saying, they want to say that they're lesser fighters, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's just like you said, the perception. Go ahead. What's that, King?
That's what I think they're gonna do to Lubin. That's why I said, bro, I can, like, again, skill for skill, bro. People talk this stuff, bro. Vergil is not a better boxer than Lubin. He is not a better fighter than Lubin. That's why I say I do believe that the same Lubin that got knocked out cold by Jermell Charlo would dominate this Vergil. But I believe he gonna go in there and box, and y'all know the new thing now. And I know, Poole, you agree with it, but I think it's levels to everything. You don't believe you should be able to outbox somebody to take their belt. I agree in certain extents, like you shouldn't just not engage and take the belt. But I do believe that, if you're sitting still, standing your ground, countering good, I think that type of boxing should allow you to take somebody's belt. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking for counter opportunities and you're not just running, I do believe that type of boxing should allow you to win a belt. But I believe if Lubin just box him, they're not going to give him the belt. I believe if he win a boxing match, they're not going to give him the belt. I believe he got to knock him down or knock him out.
Yeah, they're going to put that Tom and Jerry shit out there, where they're going to call it running. Just, they doing that to Crawford. already. You know, they got writers out there saying that he ran the whole fight, and I'm just like, man, it's like that. It's nasty work, man. What they doing to Crawford Victory? You know, what I'm saying he ran and all kind of shit like that. The fight was boring. That fight was anything but boring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
fight was so goddamn exciting. It was ridiculous, especially when Crawford started standing in that pocket and start beating the shit out of Canelo, and his legs were wobbly. I was like, bro, they need to stop the bullshit, bro. Stop the
Hey,
bullshit.
I try to think I listen to a lot of trainers. I watch a lot of videos and the coach. I'm like, if you're training a guy to fight a guy that's bigger than him or maybe got more of a knockout punch, how do you train him? You don't train him to sit there and get knocked the fuck out, man. You got to use movement. You got to pivot. You got to circle him. Now, I'm not saying kind of like what Devin did with Ramirez. I'm not saying that type of running, but why wouldn't you use your footwork, your attribute? What they're trying to do is make the black fighter stand right there. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
They're trying to put you at a disadvantage instead of using your talent. Now, I'm not saying wrong, but you definitely should be pivoting. You shouldn't be standing right there fighting the more powerful guy. That would be stupid. Because everybody instinctually say when Devin fought Ryan that he fought the wrong fight. He should have just boxed him. Because everybody knows that. Everybody knows that if the dude is a puncher and you're a boxer, then box him. Don't try to outpunch the puncher, and the puncher can't try to outbox the boxer. That's the reason why you put them in the ring together. You see what I mean? So that should make for a good fight. At the end of the day, Canelo was supposed to be bringing power. He was supposed to be bringing pressure. You see what I'm saying? If he couldn't do it, it's because of what Crawford was doing. You see what I mean? It wasn't about running. Crawford wasn't doing nothing but circle and making him run out of breath. And he fought him when Canelo didn't want to fight. Crawford fought him. When Canelo was ready to fight, Crawford moved back from him. That's just smart boxing, man. Do you keep your opponent thrown off?
And everybody knows that. Like you say, they see that is the gaslighting that they do in the writer's block, right? You know what I'm saying? Because if that was Maginov that did that, they would praise him to the high heaven. Oh, did you see how he boxed? He boxed
Yep,
brilliant.
yep.
He is such a brilliant boxer. They do that shit on the zone all the time. When you see Shakur Stevenson boxing, you know what I'm saying? Oh, when he was against the beta and he started moving, he just started moving for a second, and then you had Antoine what's his name? Oh man, if he start moving, he's gonna lose this fight. I was like, what the fuck? He just moving a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And they already started the narrative shit. If he start running, he's gonna lose this fight. I was like, bro, if you don't stop the bullshit, bro. The man, and then he went back to fighting on the inside. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, they're trying to set up, they're really trying to get black fighters to fight with one hand behind their back. You know what I'm saying? Because
Basically, yeah, basically.
we use our feet. The narrative is that they're running, but yet you allow white fighters to run. You know what I'm saying? Xander, what's his name? All he
Yep,
does is
yep,
box.
yep, yep.
All he does is box, bro. What's his name? Jermaine Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? All
Yep.
these fighters, you know what I'm saying? All they do is box. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy the double standard that they try to, put right in front of your damn face, play in these people's faces, you know what I'm saying, and start these propaganda narratives, oh, they're runners. It's like, bro, get the hell up out of here. Who the hell is gonna stand up in front of Canelo? You know what I'm saying? Throwing them damn bombs and shit. You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna do that? So,
Yep, let it.
the blueprint was out on Canelo a long time ago. It's just he fought guys that wasn't on his level, right? You know what I'm saying? He didn't fight no tech. That's why he didn't fight Dave Benavidez, right? They allowed him to
Yeah.
duck who they wanted. They allowed him to duck who he wanted to duck. Then he went up there and fought Bivol, and saw Bivol was he's a top level fighter. You know what I'm saying? That he was trying to beat up Bivol arms. Bivol was like, what the hell you doing? He said, bro, this is a boxing match, bro. Stop hitting my arms and shit. And he was just busting them with them 1-2s, a basic ass style. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
fancy. And I told you, Canelo was never like that. He was just put against opposition that just wasn't on his level, right? Wasn't no special dude. I mean, Danny Jacobs gave him hell. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got to stop the delusional shit in boxing. We got to stop the narratives. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see what you see, call it for what it is. That's all I'm saying. And Crawford went up there and exposed that nigga, man. went up there and exposed him because he knew he was full of shit. You know what I'm saying? He just prepared for everything that Canelo was going to throw at him, which is not a lot. You know what I'm saying? And he beat him. He beat him in exchanges on the inside. So and he boxed him from the outside. Like you said, he stayed away from. It was good boxing. It was a
It was
master
good
class.
boxing. Yeah.
Right. So you know, I be looking at this shit and I just be like, man, I can't believe they let Canelo get away for all these years. Triple G, him and Triple G get away. You know what I'm saying, with all this bullshit. You know what I'm saying, for so many years, and they still be giving them the biggest, highest praise when there wasn't nobody at them weight classes. You know what I'm saying? We were seeing these top guys fight guys that we never heard of. You know what I'm saying? For so many years, and they still gave them credit as being the top guys. You know what I'm saying? Out of you know, everybody in boxing, they the face of boxing, they the two best. It's like, dude, anytime a legend came along, they did their best to goddamn duck them. There was always so much going on that they couldn't fight. You know what I'm saying? The Andre Ward, they couldn't. Oh, we don't want to see the fight. Nobody wants to. No, we want to see that ass.
Yeah.
We want to see that ass whipping. Y'all don't want to see that ass whipping. That's what you don't want to see. You don't want to see Triple G exposed. You don't want to see Canelo exposed. So you know, it be on that type of time with this. That's why boxing is. It's just kind of like a love hate because they put so much bullshit and propaganda in there, where you know they already know what the deal is. They know what kind of fighter Ward is. He was the last fighter to win a gold medal for the United States, except for Carissa Shields. You know what I'm saying? As far as on the male side. So, you know, they do anything they can to cover all that shit up. You know, Triple G, he stayed in goddamn amateurs until shit. But now Hopkins retired. You know what I'm saying? Had to move up. You know what I'm saying? So he came in at the right time when there wasn't nobody left up in that mug. You know what I'm saying? To like really
Yeah.
give him a. So, you know, they Lomachenko, you know what I'm saying, stayed in the damn amateurs until it cleared up. You know what I'm saying? So they, you know, they be strategically coming to the pros, you know. Motherfucker be 30 years old and shit. Ain't got but 5 fights left. You know what I'm saying? Coming to the damn pros and shit because they know they didn't want to fight them dudes that really had talent. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I be peeping the game, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I be peeping it, you know.
Hey, you know what? The crazy part about it, you know, it's an attack on the American black fighter because for years how did they tell us how good the Cubans movement was? They praised the Cubans for their footwork and their movement. You see what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, when black fighters, y'all want to say they running, y'all didn't say that about the Cubans. You see what I mean?
Right.
So you know, and
they made Cuban boxing like it was the elite.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
They made that shit like it was the White Lotus of Kung Fu. You know what I'm saying? Type of style. Like that's the best style to have or some shit. I was like, damn. You know, and then once they fighters be like 60 years old when they come over here. You know, you never know how old these niggas really is because they never had no birth certificates. You know.
Yeah.
It's like goddamn Louise, a heavyweight. You know, shit. They saying that nigga was like 49 years old, and Ugas, you don't even know how old this nigga was. It's like, damn. It's like, what's up with their birth certificates over there, man? It's like shit. You never know how old these dudes are. You know, Rigondeaux. You know, I don't know if he's Cuban or not, but the shit, they ain't know how. They said that nigga about 80 years old. Like shit. It's like nobody. It's like this nigga is immortal. You know what I'm saying? This nigga is a goddamn black vampire. You know what I'm saying? Don't even know how old this nigga is, man. It's like, damn, he been fighting since goddamn 1978. You know, it's like, god damn.
Hey, you know, it's like Shakur versus Zapata. I get it. You know, it's like they want to praise Shakur because he had to stand there and let a guy hit him just to prove something to somebody. If that's me, man, I don't never want to see him fight like that again, man. Hey, it's other things you could do to become more excited. Okay, when you got your guy hurt, maybe step on the gas a little bit more, but to stand there and get hit just for fans' excitement or people want to see you, what they really want to do is see you look vulnerable. See, boxing is the only sport where we don't really want to see top skill. We want to see two guys look vulnerable in the fight. In no other sport we would look. We don't know about nobody. You don't want to watch your favorite team look vulnerable to another team just to make it a good game. See, this boxing is the only sport where they want to see two vulnerable. For you want to see both fighters get hit upside the head and some kind of. Hey, if that happens, that happens. Don't get me wrong. But if you got a skilled guy that a guy can't touch, I want to see that too. You see what I mean? Like it's Shakur. I want to see y'all go get him. Send somebody. You say you got the guy in Tank. Go get him then. Go get him. But when you see promoters avoid certain fighters, they avoided Devin Haney when he was down there. They avoided Shakur. It's because they know who the best is. They know they don't want to put their fighter in there with them. But so then they use propaganda to try to kill their fame. I said, what y'all want to see Shakur just leave the sport because can't nobody beat him? Or cause he
Y'all keep it going.
he ain't
Keep it
excited
going for me,
enough
bro.
for you. I don't understand that. Go ahead.
Y'all keep it going for me.
Okay. But yeah, that's my only thing, man. Don't tie these black fighters. Man, we should see all fights, man. Hey, what if the boxing style is the best style? Maybe the knockout style ain't the best style to win, even though it looks better. Maybe the boxing style is the best style. But if we look at a fight like Shakur, like some people say, oh, Shakur and T.O., I don't want to see that. They ain't, they just gonna be whatever they gonna be doing or whatever. Man, bullshit. I want to see who the best is. I don't want to just see an exciting fight. I want to see who the best is. Anybody else up here? Well, I guess I keep it going. But yeah, Haney Norman, I'm gonna say that it's not in the win yet. I do got Norman, slight favorite. I definitely got him a slight favorite, but if Devin Haney has an eerie calm about himself, dare I say, he's acting like a champion. That kind of give me a little bit of worry. He's already in Dubai. He's already acclimating to the climate. Now, I understand I'm from Atlanta, and I understand B Norm had a media day in Atlanta yesterday, and he looked good in his media day, but time to go handle business. Devin is getting ready. He's acting like a champion. Don't be surprised. But I'm riding with Norman. I'm riding with my ATL in. But goddamn it, he got to go prove it. I don't have nobody front, but I got your back. But you got to go out there and do it. Brian Norman got to show us what he made of. And if Devin lose, I'm not knocking him at all. He's taking a risk. We got to champion these fighters to take risks, man. Take a risk. You see what I mean? He may lose. He just may lose. But he took the risk. I know it's for a payday, but he still took the risk.
All right. All right, I'm back. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
But yeah, man, I don't want to see them tie these black fighters. I was saying when you were gone, man, we never know. Maybe the boxing style is the best style, the most effective style. And I think people scared to see that because they think they can't sell it. Mayweather sold it. How the hell you can't sell it if Mayweather sold it? See, that's why I don't listen to the business of boxing, man. When Mayweather was running shit, it was all about the sweet signs. That's how they marketed it. And it worked.
Well, they said he ran too, though. They said he ran too. They used to say,
you had some detractors, but he made a lot of money being marketed as the sweet signs. Okay, now he's gone. I get it. Y'all got Tank now, so now y'all market knockouts. You see what I mean? And so you got to trash the boxers. You see what I mean? All I'm saying, put these motherfuckers in the ring and let them fight. Let them fight, and we'll figure out who got the best style. Now, ultimately, I think if you keep putting these guys in the ring, they all gonna turn into boxer punches, and that's when boxers gonna get good. Boxing gonna get good again. That they all really got to be boxer punches. You see what I mean? Not just straight looking for a knockout.
I'm gonna tell you why it's gonna get worse. Because the attention span of TikTok, we are the TikTok generation.
Yeah.
People don't read books like that no more. Shit to expand your fucking intelligence. You know what I'm saying? People don't have the attention span no more. You know what I'm saying? They want to see action. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants everything in a microwave oven. You know what I'm saying? Like, we grew up. See, when you grew up with me, shit, we went outside and we played with toy soldiers, Had to use your
Hell yeah, for
imagination.
sure.
You know what
Hell
I'm saying?
yeah.
You had to climb trees and shit. You know what I'm saying? You had to thump lizards, nigga. You know what
Cross
I'm
the
saying?
creek, nigga. You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
we had to do shit like that. But see, this generation here, it's like if that shit ain't hot, that shit ain't hot and smoking, nigga, for 2 minutes, you done lost their attention. So, they don't have time to watch a strategic boxing match. People don't have that attention span no more. They want to see that rock'em sock'em. And I don't get me wrong, I like a good, a good brawl, you know what I'm saying? A good back and forth like anybody else, but at the same time, I like sweet science too, especially when you got two highly skilled fighters that are evenly matched and they're in the ring and they're counter punching and they're trying to figure out, just like Canelo. If people watch that Canelo versus Crawford fight, that was a highly strategic fight. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
They was
yeah.
trying to figure out.
Hell yeah.
They was trying to figure that shit out. You know what I'm saying? They was reading each other. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And Crawford just outboxed him. I told everybody that Crawford had a higher boxing IQ than Canelo, even though he's good, but he's not on the level of a Crawford, and he don't have the athletic ability of a Crawford. So really, if you just analyze it that way, Crawford was going to be able to beat Canelo. And if anybody listens to my channel and stuff, they know that that's what it was. He's just highly skilled. You know what I'm saying? So Canelo's not going to be able to get off on Crawford like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, did Canelo have a puncher's chance? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But basically, he should lose that fight because of Crawford's athletic ability to move, and things like that. But people don't have the attention span, you know what I'm saying, to like really look at boxing that way and enjoy boxing for the chess match. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to enjoy a Shakur Stevenson fight, you're gonna have to be a boxing fan, right? Or to be able to
Hey, but you know what? You want to enjoy Shakur Stevens fight? Put somebody in there with him. That's the only problem. See, this generation want to see an A-side fighter fight some B-side guy and carry the whole fight. Like he carried the promotion. No, when you have these talented boxers, you got to put them in the ring with somebody else that the fans or the casual fans believe in. You see what I mean? The problem is at 135, there ain't nobody there for Shakur. If Tank ain't gonna fight him, there's nobody else there for Shakur to fight. If he wants to get a good, close to 50-50 fight, he gotta move up. He's gonna have to move up. You see what I mean? Or he gonna become the guy that, see, if don't nobody think they can beat you, don't nobody want to watch you.
Right.
See, they know can't nobody beat Shakur at 135, man. He gonna have to move. I think he should move up and go after Derek Antoine Russell.
I think Andy Cruz, even Shakur Stevenson said that dude different. I think Andy Cruz. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is, you're right. If Andy Cruz wins that title, right, that'll be a
Oh yeah,
matchup.
if you win
I
the title,
think,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I think Andy Cruz needs to win the title. He doesn't have enough bouts. Yeah.
Blaze, if or when
Yeah.
you think Montalive is that good?
Who?
I think he good though. I think he got experience though.
You talking about me? You talking about Andy? You talking about I think Andy's gonna lose? Is that what you're trying to say? I insinuate? No. I'm not. I'm just being factual because it hasn't happened yet. I would have Andy Cruz in that fight. But what I would say is that for Shakur to fight Andy Cruz at 135 with the limited amount of bouts that Andy had, it should be for unification. Because otherwise Shakur should be fighting for unification at 135. He don't got time to wait. Because even if he fought Andy Cruz and beat Andy Cruz right now, and Andy Cruz didn't have a title, then we're in the same era in which everybody's gonna make all these type of excuses on, oh, Andy Cruz was too young, or he was inexperienced, or he didn't have enough bouts and all that other nonsense. No. You won't say that, but that'll be the consensus. You see, I've been listening to y'all. Y'all make a great point. The thing is, we live in the space that we're at, in this YouTube social media era, the algorithm gears towards trolls. Like people have opinions, and the negativity pushes the algorithm. That's what pushes views, but that's not an accurate reality. It's like when we talk about Bud. Bud's old school fighter, boxer. You feel me? And then it's like when you go into like how he cracked the code with Canelo couldn't see him coming because nobody could fathom him moving up 3 weight classes to beat him. But if anybody was an actual boxing like fan and really like the sweet science, and like boxers and then like boxer punchers and watched all of Crawford's tape, then they knew that he could use his IQ to outbox Canelo. We just all
Yeah,
had to wonder, what does it look like going up 21 pounds? That was our only caveat. What does it look like
yeah,
going up 28 pounds? What does it look like to take a punch from somebody at 168? And we learned,
right.
we learned the answers to that at the weigh-in, right? The official weigh-in, when he comes in chopped at 167, like he really put on the weight to rehydrate. And then we learned in the
Right.
first 4 rounds that, yeah, he can outbox this boy. And unfortunately, like you said, Canelo, honestly, like I said, I have to say he was on the decline and just on this one factor. You can go on a whole bunch of other things, like his footwork and all that, but how he was telegraphing that lead left hook
Oh
early in
yeah.
the fight. He wasn't even tired. He was telegraphing that lead left hook in like the second round. But that's because of the frustration of not being the spacing that Bud had for him not being able to touch him. So he's literally like frustrated throwing that punch. But to get back to it, it's like, hey, we're in an era now, just like you said, with the attention span, everything's got to be clipped. Everything's got to be highlights. It's like basketball's like that, football's like that, all the sports is like that. Even baseball, they put the timer on the pitching. You feel me? It's like we're in this fast, exciting, you can't keep people's attention span. But we can't, we as those of us who analyze boxing and who like boxing, and who are like serious of it and really look at fights and look at matchups and really want to see the best fight, we can't get caught up reacting and responding to the environment that we're in, because the algorithm is negative. I would find myself more time arguing with trolls than actually having, you feel me, fruitful conversations and debates with boxing inside the ring. What we have here is we're talking about all the nonsense outside of the ring. But I'm glad I'm talking to y'all. That's why I like the OGs, because y'all, we get to talking about more so matchups inside the ring, more so than all this nonsense that's floating on the outside. You feel me? And not necessarily names, but looking at fighters that where they're at and where they're ranked in their skill set. So, I just appreciate being on the panel when I'm chopping it up with y'all.
For sure.
Yeah,
Hey,
and my thing is, that's why, I always tell people, I don't care about the numbers, you know what I'm saying? Because, it's people are going to go back and forth, you know what I'm saying? Because if you are fair and you put boxing over everything, people are not going to like what you say about their favorite fighters. You know what I'm saying? Because you got criticism for everybody. So, if you say something against Crawford or you say something against Erickson Jr., whether it's Tank, people are going to subscribe, unsubscribe, you know what I'm saying? Depends on what's going on in boxing. So I don't even think about that shit. You know what I'm saying? I just come on here and say what I think, because, playing that popularity game ain't gonna last. It's not gonna last, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because look, there's a lot of channels that on the side of Tank Davis, no matter what he does, and you can blow up. You can go up. You get 1,000 subscribers a day behind that. If you hate Devin Haney, you know what I'm saying? You can get 1,000. You can get 1,000 subscribers. That shit ain't gonna last once you start saying what you really think. So you might as well come out and say what the hell you really think, and let the shit fall where it may. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give y'all a little pushback to say this. When it comes to, I think we are moving in a better direction. I'm gonna tell you that Crawford fight and Canelo, I think, changed the perception of things. We gotta understand, 41 million people viewed that fight that did not end in a knockout. So whether those were, we know some of those were casual fans, right? A good portion were casual fans, and they were able to sit there and watch a whole fight without nobody getting knocked out, and it ended up being a good fight. Okay, I'm saying we tend to look at the outcome of a fight to say how we think a fight would go. I don't think it really goes like that. What happened with Canelo Crawford was the build. It was the two guys in the ring. We don't know what's gonna happen in the fight, but it was the two guys that's in the ring the reason why people watched the fight. Now we got Norman and Haney. We salivating just at the announcement. You see what I mean? We ain't seen the fight yet, but we are all anticipating. That's what you need in boxing. If you put the right two fighters in the ring and market it, people will anticipate a good fight, and we'll deal with the outcome of the fight later. Just like look at Mayweather Pacquiao. Even though it was 5 years too late, the anticipation was great. Fight went all that great, but the anticipation of the fight was enough to make it sell up millions of pay-per-views. So
Hey,
if we put these fighters in the ring, match them up, let Turkey do it, or whoever got to do it, we can build the anticipation of fights back up.
and OG though, OG. But in order to but the why we were so excited for Canelo and Crawford, it's kind of different for why we're so excited for Haney and Norman. But it's the same thing in the sense of how you get there. It's the narratives coming in, right? And
And
it's
Mhm.
they
like
tried.
these classic narratives, right? The classic narrative with Canelo versus Crawford was David versus Goliath. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It was
yeah,
that
Yeah.
apparent and opposite. Like, how would he do it? Like, there's no possible way. Like, I dragged my wife to Vegas. You feel me? And she was like,
Yeah.
"I'm rooting for Bud, but I don't think he'll win." And I'm like, "Listen, he gonna win." You feel me? It's that dynamic. Now with Haney and with Brian Norman Jr., that's what we've been asking for. We want
Right.
fighters in their prime to fight each
yeah,
other. You feel
yeah,
me?
That's
And
right.
not only
That's
that,
right.
though, there's a great, like, what I love is like, I'm going for Brian Norman Jr., but I love the support that Haney got in spite of the shit that happened with Ryan Garcia. I love it. I love everybody who ride for him, who
hell
believes he
yeah,
can win and all that. I love it, right? Because that's a beautiful thing because we always knock, hey, when a black man or somebody fall down, everybody kick him. You feel me? I love the fact that Danny and them, had that misstep with Ryan Garcia for whatever reasons. We ain't gotta rehash and we know what's up. But then he leans into what he's known for, his greatness. Him and Bill been striving to fight high level competition all the time, names and accolades. You see what I'm saying? And then he's
Mhm.
moving up to 147 to fight a champ that, those who aren't casuals know that Brian Norman Jr. is evolving and becoming a greater fighter right before his eyes with his work ethic, with how him and his dad's relationship is. And then if you watch his last 3 fights, he destroyed those opponents, regardless of what you consider as what the level of competition is. He was the underdog when he fought Santillan and violently stopped him, right?
yeah, yeah,
Made Cuevas stop, and then he got arguably knockout of the year with Sasaki. And he's 24, and Haney's 26. And this is the beautiful thing about it. I'm going for Brian Norman Jr., but think about this: if Haney wins, there should be a rematch. And this is how legacies are made, win or loss.
exactly, yeah,
When
yeah,
you
I
have
agree
these
with all
these
that.
rematches and these trilogies. So these young boys is putting themselves in here to be legacy fights for each other. And then I would
Mm.
just want to say my last point. Damn, I lost it. I was cooking. I would want to say this, but like I said, I'll just end it right there. Oh no, like what y'all said earlier. People don't like this sweet science and they think it's boring. One of the best fights I've seen this year, I think the best fight I done seen this year competitively was Bivol versus Beterbiev. And that was a chess match.
yeah,
Both
Mhm.
fights were a chess
Yeah.
match in the sense of
yeah,
we seen both of them fighters who had dominated their fights before with their particular styles and didn't deviate and bring both of their styles into the ring, and we watched it play out in phenomenal fashion. You see what I'm saying? And it's like if you need to see a knockout, if you need to see something flashy, you ain't appreciating that. But if you love the sweet science and being intentional and seeing 2 boxers who trying to take each other's heads off, but they're thinking, and it's a chess match, then hey man, that was the great fight. That was the best fight I've seen this year. And I'm gonna let my plane right
Yeah.
there.
And if you look at the build up to that, because Arthur Beterbiev is a straight assassin with the power, you know what I'm saying? Then you're talking about a pure boxer, with smarts and boxing IQ. That was the perfect fight. That shows you right there,
oh
puncher
yeah,
versus
oh yeah.
boxer sale.
Perfect fight.
That shows you
Perfect
right there.
fight.
And they about to fight again. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
perfect. And trilogy.
yeah.
Hey,
And they're
if
both Hall of Famers now. They're solidified they're gonna be future Hall of Famers. Ain't no question about it.
yeah,
So
And
they
the,
hey,
got
and the
so
losses that they
hey,
both take don't take away from their legacy.
hey, if anybody know me or heard me on the panel, I always say the matchups are between the boxer and the puncher. That's the matchup they've been avoiding. They've been putting the puncher in there with a flat-footed guy. They're gonna stand there because they're trying to manufacture a knockout. But if you look at even Tank versus Roach, look, boxer versus the puncher. You see what I mean? And if you look at, I'm telling you, eerily similar, the Crawford and Canelo fight. If you look at the pacing of the fight, as far as what they did the first 6 rounds versus the last 6 rounds and round 9. If you look at Roach Tank, it was the same way. It was the same pacing. So You got you got Better Be versus Bivol, Boxer Puncher, Roach versus Tank, Canelo versus Crawford. Now you got Haney versus Norman. This how you. So I'm saying we got Shakur. Find some
Yeah.
puncher to put him in the ring with. I
And
think
OG.
Shakur should move up and fight Gary Antoine Russell.
Yeah, I think so too. And OG
Right.
though. But what you
And
point
he's
out is
good
with that
enough, man.
pacing.
He's good enough, man. He's good enough, man. Find a 50-50 fight, man. That's the name of the
Yeah.
game going forward. Find a 50-50 fight.
But OG, you made a great point with that pacing. That pacing shows up in all high level fights throughout history, right? You can go back and analyze
Yep,
whether what
yep,
two fighters was greater than by just simply looking at the fight and then looking at the pacing. Well, if you're talking about 12 rounds, championship rounds, right? And you're talking about, really fighting skillful and being responsible and, and really doing your thing at a high level. That pacing comes out to where the game slows down, right? And it's
yep,
more intentional and the punches are executed and the adjustments are made in the later rounds based off stamina or somebody get hurt or you feel me or if somebody fall for a trap. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
And so it's like it's a beautiful thing what you got, but like we know who be watching it. We got to get the matchups. It's like for instance at 154, like we got to get a matchup with Bakram because
yeah,
I've been watching tape on Bakram and Bakram's that guy. And then, but now we get into the business of it, and the business fucks it up because it's high risk, low reward because he don't got a name. You see what I'm saying? As far as it's like for instance with Boots versus Vergil makes way more money than Boots versus Bachman.
yeah,
At
yeah,
least apparently when we look at the popularity and we correlate popularity with monetary value, right? You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
And so I'm gonna complete myself right there.
Yeah, the politics, man. That's why I try to tell people, man. The business of boxing, they stop more fights than they make. You see what I mean? Because a good
Yeah,
fight makes itself. We already know what the good matchups are. We are as fans. We already know. We don't need no help. We don't need you to convince us of some other guy. We already know because good fights make themselves. Now we need the business to pay for it. And a lot of time the business go the other way. They steer their fighter the safer route, the less risky route, and that just and I try to tell people we think people want to see quick knockouts. I say they don't want to see quick knockouts. They just want to see two good guys fight. When I think of the success of the UFC, are the fans watching the UFC because they want to see a knockout in the first round, or are they watching the whole 5 rounds? Those people don't want to go nowhere. They don't want to go nowhere. And
yeah.
we got to get boxing back like that, but we can only do it if we put our best guy. It's an old saying, if you ever been in management or a supervisor or a boss or whatever the case may be, you work your horses the hardest. So those
Yeah.
guys that show up to be the top of they need to fight. They need to fight, man. That's who's gonna carry the sport. That's
But
gonna carry
OG,
not just one guy fighting nobody. I'm talking about two guys, two names. When we say look back and say, well, boxing was good back then, well, we always had two names. Even
yeah.
Mayweather, I know Mayweather, I'm landing a plane right here. Mayweather, he was calculated in the fights he picked. Okay, that's fine. But what Mayweather understood was I need another name across from me. They're
Come on.
not just here to see me. They want to see somebody they think can beat me.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the game.
And OG though, you made a great point. If you point out the business, how the business get in the way of boxing, and you point to UFC. So because UFC is a closed system and individual fighters can't maximize and pick and choose who they fight, you get to see competitive bouts over and over and
Exactly.
over again. Because when you hold that belt, you got to fight the number one contender. If you get injured, that shit goes interim. When you come back, you got to fight him. If you don't fight him, you're gone. And so it's
Yep.
like, but it's the
Yep.
business though. It's the business.
Yep.
Like because I for a stint, I became a UFC fan because like right after Mayweather, like in between Mayweather and Crawford, there was a dead zone in boxing. And it was just like with the competitiveness and people dodging and all that. And then it's like when you watch UFC, you see them lock up. And so them guys who are great, the GFPs, the John Joneses, the
Yeah.
Amanda Nunes's, the Cyborgs, them guys they're great. And we don't talk about, you can't talk about ducking with them because you got to
Nah,
fight. But the thing
nah, not at
is,
all.
it's the business though. The downside to it is that them guys is in closed systems. maximize the amount of money they took for the risk that was taken in there. So that's when you seen a McGregor come through and you see what happened when he became big. He became bigger than the sport, and he got that money from Mayweather and then didn't look back, because why would he? He went through the gauntlet. He went through the gauntlet, put it all on the line, got all that money, and his ego allowed him to continue to fight. And he kept running in the championship competition, because if you want to fight for these titles, you got to fight the best. You see what I'm saying? And so that's not what and that's unfortunately with boxing now, is that's what we have. It's like, you got to think, because think about it. You got to think about Bud's situation. Bud right here recently fights these competitive fights because what did he do? He broke away from promoters. So nobody's in his ear talking about, don't take the fight, just fight this person, just take this bag. He broke away from those promoters, and as a man, you feel me, letting his nuts hang, he went and got to that competition. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like, but these other boxers ain't doing that.
But one thing you missing, because now, as you see on the world stage, that the UFC is coming up on a federal investigation about fixed fights, and you know, of course, Oscar De La Hoya is putting it out there that the UFC is being investigated for fixed fights. You got former UFC fighters coming out saying that shit was fake. It was fixed. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those fights. You know what I'm saying?
But OG, all sports is like that though. You see the NBA, and we know boxing. We see these refs and shit.
I'm just talking about. Yeah, boxing is very notorious for being fixed, and you know. But what I'm saying is, like, you see Dana White coming into boxing, you know, trying to set up his own things with his own belts. He's trying to set up his own system, and so the UFC is put up. At first, I always thought it was legit. This is the first time I've heard that the UFC was a fixed sport, and so now, you know what I'm saying, the UFC, you know what I'm saying, we was always talking about how competitive it was and everything, but now we're seeing that this shit might not be as what it seemed, right? So now he's coming to boxing with that bullshit, and we're gonna have, you know what I'm saying, them taking fans away from you know, real boxing. You know what I'm saying? If they got a fake system over there, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna dilute what we got going on in boxing, because boxing is starting to get back on track. Go ahead.
But Ochito, what I would push back with is hey, anytime there's gambling and there's money on the line, hey, there's fixes in. You feel me? Like, that's part of competitive sports when all this money's on the line. That's the caveat we all gotta have when we look at what we're looking at. And like, for me, I'm not a betting man. That's why I don't put money. If I bet something that I don't give a fuck about. I'm not putting no real money on any type of sporting event when I know there's corruption everywhere, right? But what I would say is this: even with the corruption is baked in, you got to think about what Dana White would be trying to do. His motto would be kind of like, if I'm not mistaken, like the Ultimate Fighter. So what he'll have 16 good boxers running through the gauntlet. And then you'll find somebody come out of that gauntlet nice, kind of like the Contender Series back in the day. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, on the one end, they talking about these fixed fights, what they had going on. But on the other end, it's like, hey, them guys are familiar and got experience with creating a system that creates competition in which we would want to watch. If they put 16 boxers that are very good inside a house together, you know, all of us, if be watching that shit, we'll be talking about that shit every week. We be having predictions and some more shit.
That it's not going to sell or work or anything. What I'm saying is, if it is fixed and everything like that, it's, you know, because one thing about the UFC we know is that they do not like to promote the black stars that they have. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing in boxing. You know, they always try to put the European fighters, you know what I'm saying, or the white fighters above the black fighters. They don't want to put the promotion behind the black fighters. So, you know, we got a lot of that shit continuing on in a whole new dynamic. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I hate.
It's the same thing, though.
Hey, let me say this right quick. Let me say this.
Go ahead.
Now I'm gonna push back just a little bit to say I was listening to Errol Hawani. And what they were saying, that the fighters were being approached by outside people, and Dana White actually called the FBI himself on one of his fighters, because I guess it's some guy that just got choked out, and they saying it was suspicious that a late bet came in for $16 million the day before the fight, and the guy got choked out in the first round. So Dana White called the FBI on that guy. So I think it's more about the fighters getting approached by people who, like say, want to bet on the fight. and paying them
So,
money because
why would he?
they
Why
think the
would he be?
UFC ain't making no money. They ain't making no money, so they
So,
giving them money to throw the
so
fight.
what? So why would he be against the goddamn trying to change the Muhammad Ali Act? Because under that act, you can't have promoters and people approaching your fighter, even though it's
because
illegal
he
and they can do it. Go ahead.
because he's trying to put a cap and get the sanctioning bodies out to where they can go to an alternative league to where they can create a closed system. That's what it is. But I do want to answer your other point earlier. Hey, the corruption against black folks, black boxers, that's historic, bro. That's global European imperialism. We know that part. That's what makes us
Yeah.
so great. That's what makes us historically so great. Because when you stick out, if anybody make a top 10 all time of boxing, who's the majority that's going to be there? You see what I'm saying? Against all
Yeah.
odds. And if we go back to Sugar Ray Robinson, Jack Johnson, them feds creating laws against them and some more shit. You kind of did what I'm saying?
Right.
Joe
Right.
Lewis, you feel me? So it's like, hey man, that's the beautiful thing with the struggle, the pugilistic sport, where it's like, hey man, we rise to the top up here in this fight game against all odds. You see what I'm saying?
Despite the corruption.
Despite the corruption. That's what makes us resonate with it. Cause we're like, yeah, this shit is corrupt, but they ain't doing this nigga no favor. They trying to get over on this nigga. You feel me? You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like when you seen it with Bud and Canelo. We knew coming in that the cards was gonna be suspect. Bud knew it. Bud said, I'm gonna be down. Two rounds, I'm gonna be down for sure. So I gotta handle my business. That's what's so
Wh-
beautiful about this sport
wh-
for us. When we
It's
like it,
that
we
it's
like to
that
see
it's that
the
old
brothers do it.
adage that black people got to be 2-3 times
Twice as good.
better.
Yep.
Right, we got to be twice as good, bro. Because if you ain't,
Yeah.
you ain't fit to get that. You ain't fit to get that nod, bro. Because
Yeah.
if you think there's not an agenda, you know what I'm saying, to downplay, you know what I'm saying, you can see it. You can see it in this damn Canelo Bud fight. As bad as Bud beat Canelo,
Yeah.
and people are still talking about this man ran. No, he beat Canelo ass, bro. I'm like, bro, I
Man,
don't even
listen,
like
he whooped
Crawford. I don't even
Canelo.
like that
And,
nigga. And he beat Crawford. He beat Canelo ass. I don't like
and
Canelo either, but
what's
he beat
crazy
their ass.
about that though? Yeah, what's crazy about that is you got fans saying that, hey, I went back and it looked like Canelo won, and Canelo told you himself he didn't win.
Right.
Canelo kept it 100 at the post conference and explained
Yeah.
exactly
He
what we
said the nigga
saw.
was
He
good.
had
He said that
everything.
nigga
I couldn't do nothing.
exactly. It's like they don't care about reality, bro. People can
Yeah.
say
Hey,
whatever the hell they want to say, despite what they eyes saw. And you just be like in disbelief, like, damn, are they really saying that he ran?
Yeah.
And then it's clip after clip of Crawford hitting that bitch in the head, his legs, Canelo legs wobbling, and you like, bro, what are they talking about,
But not
bro? It's
only
like,
that, the nigga sticking his tongue out at him, smiling at him, laughing at him, smiled that whole time with the guitar coming out. Like, what are we talking about here? He washed him.
I did a prediction
And let me ask
video
y'all
for,
I
but
want to ask you a question. For
but
did you hear about because I know y'all was talking about Turkey and the Zuffa boxing. I think that Zuffa boxing might be DOA. Did you hear about Dana White being under federal investigation for fixing
yeah,
over
I was
100
just
fights?
talking about that. I was just talking about that. Yeah, I was just talking about that. I was like, yeah,
And I've been asking the whole time, like, I don't understand why you would pick Dana White to run an organization when he have class action lawsuits, antitrust lawsuits. He has several lawsuits against him. His fighters don't have anything positive to say about him. The man is a degenerate gambler. Are we supposed to believe that he not fixing fights? Like, why is
Two
this the
cent.
person y'all are
that,
championing to quote unquote fix boxing when his shit not even right?
Hey, but two
that
cent, you got
that
the
nigga is
answer to the question already.
he's the Honor Rothstein of fucking boxing. That motherfucker run shit. That nigga got
Hold up. Yeah.
political connections. That nigga is
Exactly.
the Honor
But let,
Rothstein of boxing.
hey, but let me answer your question, two cent. You answered it earlier. Remember when we was talking about whether or not, that's where I got my running joke with you about jinxing fights. Where you was like the Bud versus Canelo fight might not happen yet, right? Because Turkey don't got the license to fight in Vegas, right? And so we needed Dana, right? And then Dana
Right.
got connections with this current administration, right? You see what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, he got all that bullshit going on, but once again, this is kind of like that white supremacy shit. Yeah, he got lawsuits. Yeah, he beat up
I
his
mean
wife.
that,
Yeah, all of
that
that.
makes
But
sense to Turkey, but I'm talking about the fans. How are the fans so accepting of it? That's my
but you know
question.
the fans, take sides, both sides. Some are with him, some are against him. Like the fans, they're not necessarily the most informed and most intelligent decision makers when it comes to the information that they get and making conclusions on it. Because if they give you what they want, they give you what they want. It's like, with Dana. It's like if you like competitive fights and you want to see the best fight the best, hey man, they got a culture over there at the UFC that historically been doing that. So regardless of what you feel about his
Hey,
personal issues and what he got going on, you want to see good fights and good cards. He give you
hey,
that.
let,
You know what I'm
let me
saying?
say let me say this. Like I
But that's
say,
not
my part.
gonna
Hey, hold on.
continue,
Let me
Blake.
say that real quick. 2 cents. Let me say that. If one, I always say this. On one side, they say Turkey's spending too much money. He's spending too much money. Whatever. He ain't making no profit. Ain't making no profit. Making no profit. Then he comes up with a private company in which he plans to make profit. Then people say he paying too little. He paying too little. So I'm the technical guy, right? What do you think is the average boxer's pay right now with U.S. boxing? What is the average? We know the guys that making millions of dollars. What do you think the average pay for an American boxer under the current rules right now? I can tell you it's
It's a
thirty-three
couple hundred.
thousand to
Oh, yeah.
fifty-one thousand.
Oh, okay.
33,000 to 51,000 for the average
Wow.
boxer. I mean, the average pay of all the boxers is 33,000, 51,000. So what I'm saying, when you look at Zuffa pay list, it ain't that bad when you look at it like that. It's not bad at all. So what I'm saying is they're coming in, they saying, hey, we can
But
only pay this
but
much so we
but let me
can
tell
make.
you where it get
Now,
bad,
let me,
Rich.
let me, finish, I'm finna land the plane right here. So what I'm saying is, think about it like this: they're gonna get out, they're gonna make the money, right? They're gonna pay a lower percentage. They're gonna make the money, and they're gonna reinvest. And that's more
No.
money for advertisement. There's more money for the shows. There's more money for big events. There's more money because that's what they're doing right now. They take the money and they put on more events, more events. So at the end of the day, he produced $1.4 billion last year. $1.4 billion. You're not telling me it's not a business person gonna look and say, hey, this dude did that. He maybe he could do it for me.
No, nigga. I
If
don't
the
see.
model worked, why did he get sued for $400 million too, Rich?
I mean, well, we gonna look up all the boxing lawsuits. We gonna look up all the boxing lawsuits. Like there ain't no lawsuits in boxing. Of course, fighters saying they're not getting. What they're saying is
Bro, he
the
got
ones that are
sued by the
producing money,
whole everybody.
huh?
He getting sued. He got
Look,
sued for $400 million,
okay. Well,
bro.
let me say it like that, right? I come out the music business, right? You hear that a lot, right? This record company is ripping the artists
360.
out, right? That's what I'm saying. They say that record company ripping the artists off, right? What I would tell you to look at it like this: that record company might have just signed 10 people, and they invest in 10 rappers. Only one of them blow. How did they know which one was gonna blow? How did they know? So how do they cover their sales for the other 9 that did not blow? You see what I mean? You got to cover yourself for people that the fans don't see the ones that didn't make it that you invest into. They just see the one that make it and they think he deserves all the money. But it's no guarantee which one is gonna make it. It always have to invest in the fighter don't pan out. Nobody say, hey man, we need to give him some money back. He lost a lot of money on that particular fighter. So it's 2 ways to look at that.
Well, that's why they have pay per view. That's
That's like
what.
an
That's what.
Apple,
But
man. Pay
pay-per-view's
per view
dead though.
dead, man. That's
With
dead,
the
man.
streaming, bro, it's dead, bro. They can't guarantee their revenue. See, the thing with business is you gotta if
Ain't
they
they
invest
doing
on the
pay per
front
view?
end, they invest on the front.
The revenue
They,
was never guaranteed from pay per view anyway. It was never quote
But it was
unquote
no,
guaranteed.
but it wasn't sucked dry with before streaming. They had could kind of estimate how much they was gonna get in the ballpark. They was actually making money. Like you had to pay. Like if there wasn't streaming and there wasn't internet, and you had to have that cable plugged in, and you had to buy that shit, or you wouldn't see that shit live. You couldn't have nobody re-stream it or nothing. The most you could get was somebody to record it and then try to sell you a tape or a DVD after the fact.
That is
You
false.
got
That is
live
false. You've
stealing.
always been able to act to steal fights. We used to get you the little
No,
cards to put in your little box. That you've
but
always been able to
it's
steal fights.
no, but what I'm talking about, yeah, you could, but it was a sophisticated. People couldn't pirate like they pirate now. Two
right.
cent. Like, yeah, if you was sophisticated, but it wasn't like everybody could get to it. Like everybody can pirate now. You feel me? You hit the site up in the souvenir. Everybody can do it now. Before, you had to have the G14 classified card and all types of shit to try to steal shit so they could mitigate how much was getting stolen. You can't quantify no pay-per-view no more because everybody just streams it illegally. So you can't,
But would you agree that people are still doing successful pay-per-views?
yes, but what they've done is that you have to have like the powers that be recognize, like you gotta have a real name. You got to have
You
a
gotta
big
have two
name.
names. You gotta
You
have
got to
two
have two
names.
names. And then we're talking about, but look what we're talking about. You got to have more than two names because you got to have more than one fight on that card to sell it now. You see what I'm saying? It ain't just the main event no more. That's why they doing main events. That's why they be having two big names ASAP
Hey,
on these
well, let
on
me
these
ask you a
cards
question,
now.
2 Cent. Let me ask you a question, 2 Cent. How many people view a tank fight?
What you mean? How many people view?
I'm saying, how many people watch a tank fight?
He probably averaged between 250, 300,000 pay-per-views.
Okay, right? Okay, so that's cool, right? I only thought he put on one worthy pay-per-view, and that's with Ryan. I thought those other fights should have been free fights, right? So the question is, what looks better to advertisers? 41 million views or 250,000 pay-per-view?
250,000 pay-per-views that people were willing to spend their
Okay,
money on.
listen. I said to advertisers. See,
Yeah,
that's the difference
advertisers.
with
No, the
streaming.
eyeballs. Yeah,
You bring in the advertisers' money.
yeah.
You getting
But
guaranteed
that's
money
what
from
I'm
the
telling y'all.
advertisers.
The Zuffa, and guess what? In
Pay-per-view gonna give
Zuffa
you two.
boxing, but this is what y'all missing, right? This is the antitrust lawsuit. This is what Dana White's getting sued for. All the sponsorship, because boxers make other money besides just the money from the fight. They get sponsorship deals, they get endorsements, they get all of these things that they're capable of getting. In Zuffa boxing, all of that income that they would be capable of getting, they wouldn't get that. They would get the 50,000 or 30,000 or whatever they promised for that fight. And anything outside of that, the Zuffa, quote unquote, Zuffa boxing will keep that. See, and then they own your image and your likeness or however that shit go. And then they're telling you, oh, you gotta fight whoever we say at every 3 months, every 6 months, or whatever the case may be. It's too much control. It's like all of the boxers' autonomy is now gone. And I don't think, honestly, they're gonna really have any big names in that league like that because they're capped on how much money they can make, and that's the biggest difference. Yeah, you say quote unquote the average boxer don't make this much money and that much money, but they have at least the ability to. If you with the Zuffa boxing, you don't got shit, and that's why Dana White is being sued. You fixing fights, you own their image and their likeness, even after they're done with the UFC. Like all of that encompassing is the issue I have with the Zuffa boxing thing.
Okay, let me rebuttal that right quick. Now, before you go ham on Dana White, look it up. Dana White called the FBI on the fighters, the fixing the fight. So look it up before you go say Dana White said it, because just look it up for yourself. But what I'm saying is,
yeah, and now he's under investigation.
I hate to keep making a correlation to the music business. You gotta understand, Al Heyman, Jay Prince, all these people come out of the music business. I understand this shit. They understand the idea of promotions. You see what I mean? So you have to think, how is Netflix paying out their money? Because it seems like Netflix took the Turkey Alice Sheik route rather than the low paying for the pay-per-view route. Seems like they took the Turkey Alice Sheik route. So how are they making money, paying all these money for these fights? If they giving Tank Jake 100 million, Tank 50 million, how is Netflix making money?
Advertisements.
There you go. Because in the music business, hey, let's look at the correlation. Remember, years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you went to a club and you saw a guy. You went to a club, right? You saw a guy perform. He got paid $3,000. I don't care if it was 8 Ball, MJG. I don't care who it was. They got paid $3,000 or $4,000, and that was it. Today, these artists are getting $75,000 to $100,000. Why? Not from the fans, from the corporate sponsors, from the advertisers. That's the name of the game now. The streaming service bringing more advertising dollars. That's the game now. Fuck 200,000 or 300,000 pay-per-views. When Netflix can cut you a check for 50 million, or Turkey Alice Sheik can cut you a check for 50 million. Why are we playing with pay-per-view?
But what I'm telling you is all that sound good, but the boxers ain't gonna see none of that money from advertisements in Zoo for boxing. They're not gonna see none of that. So that's irrelevant.
No, it's not irrelevant. It's bad for the boxers, but the sport's alive because they're investing on the front end to make that profit. Like Zuffa's a publicly traded company, if I'm not mistaken, right? And so it's capitalism, it's exploitation. So regardless of whether the fighters are getting paid or not, it's within a model in which they can make profit. And that's what I was talking about. Front end, back end. They have to, these corporations and the money that it takes to put together good cards and good fights and all of that is an investment on the front end with the expectation of getting something on the back end, right?
So
And
y'all
now
agree
we
with
like
me?
it. What you mean? Agree with you as far as what?
The boxers ain't gonna see.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. We agree with you. We agree with you. That's not up for debate.
But
We agree
it
with you. The
depends.
money,
I, I heard y'all just talk about Brian Norman making $100,000 as a champion. Y'all say he only made 100 grand. Y'all shitted on him, laughed at him, did everything. Under Zuffa, he would have made 750,000. So I don't know what we're talking about here. Yes, I'm gonna tell you, it mimicking reality, right? So as most black people are Democrats, right? You want to take the top 1% and you still want to say no, they should share the money. Well, Zuffa gonna do that. The average boxer is actually gonna make more money, but the top level will be capped. You see what I mean? But that closed system is gonna feed itself. Just like NFL did the same thing, right? They had two leagues. They
yeah.
made one closed system. And now the NFL players get paid out the Watusi. You see what I mean? So we just got to
That's
watch it
union
play
though.
out.
That's union though, OG. That's union
Well,
though,
that's true.
OG.
That's true.
Players
That's true.
Association.
And maybe that's what they got to do. Maybe eventually they'll have to
But
form a union.
but you can't form a union in an international operation. You see what I'm saying? So that's the thing. It's like even if Dana White and them are successful at creating a system, it's a closed system that's still local in a global market. You feel me? Because they're not going to be able to capture the entire globe with their system. You get what I'm saying? So they'll have a league, right? Their thing is they think they can make a league like the UFC and then every other boxing around it would be inferior. But no, it won't because it like even if you talk about these scandals, right? Then we go into the conspiracies and the powers that be. When you got somebody trying to disrupt the business model come in, what's the first thing that they do? They assassinate their character. They get them tied up in legal issues. You see what I'm saying? They neutralize them being able to make moves. And that's what you're seeing right now with Dana White. You feel me? It ain't no coincidence that he's trying to make a big move and move and shake. And then now you got all this scandal in the operation that he's trying to transfer over into the boxing world. It's power, bro. It's power moves. You feel
Hey,
me?
but do you think now they did the reform to the Ali Act? Do you think regular promoters are not going to take advantage of that in some
No,
form or fashion?
regular promoters are gonna optimize how they profit with the law change. So
Yeah,
absolutely. So
exactly,
why they say,
exactly,
oh, they don't like it and all of
exactly.
this? No,
Yeah,
their accountants and their team is gonna
exactly,
say, hey, this is how we maximize our profits under this new law. And you know what? This is gonna actually allow us to make more money because, like you said, we can put a
exactly.
cap at these motherfuckers at the top. So right now we're gonna say, oh, this is bogus. This is some BS to appease. You feel me? The fans and tell them
Yeah,
what you want to hear that you already got paying, and then they're gonna bust they move. You see how they even
exactly.
made you see how they even changed the law, the Muhammad Ali Act. It even says the Muhammad Ali Act in it. It says like the reinvigoration or some shit. You feel me? It's like
Hey,
this is how ill they are.
then Tom Brown sent in a letter in support of the reform,
Yeah, he
and that's a
did. He sure
PBC
did.
guy, and that's
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
PBC guy.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's like when they crunch the numbers and realize how they're gonna make some money, you feel me? They're gonna be all for it. But one thing about it, when you're big fish, big whale globally, you know how to make money regardless of what the rules are. Because you influence the rules and you make exceptions to the rules and you can get exemptions to the rules and some more shit. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we look at these rules and it's like the people at the bottom, some people are gonna be impacted. 9 times out of 10, when legislation happens, is to exploit or take it away from that person who's actually creating the value, right? In certain form or certain fashion, because the people who are creating the value ain't the ones that's actually creating policy and laws. You see what I'm saying? And so, regardless of how what it changes to, we know it doesn't help the little person, the independent person. It helps the big system. It helps big business. You feel me?
all right. Let me get in here, Blaze. I got to get out of here, man, because I got to take this damn load. But man, good talk, man. Good talk. I hope you come back. You know what I'm saying? we'll probably get on with we're gonna watch this fight live tomorrow. And you know, y'all come and join me, you know what I'm saying, for the live fight if you got time, you know what I'm saying, give me your time. I appreciate it. But yeah, I gotta get out of here now. All right, man. Let me
appreciate it.
shut
All
it
right.
down. But yeah, Blaze, you got the I love the business side, man. You got that shit on lock, bro. You know what I'm saying? And
I'm just a
you know,
learn. I learn. I got my degree in business management. Then I'm, I do
it sounds like it. 'Cause
nonprofit work.
I
So
was like, shit, I was like, who
For
got
sure.
diabetes? Nigga, I was like, shit, who the hell got diabetes around here? You know what I'm saying? I ain't know what the hell you talking about. But we'll come back tomorrow, you know what I'm saying, probably same time, and check me out. Keep your notifications on for Full Kind Boxing. Was a good cook. And see you guys in the next one, man. Your boy got the
All right,
roll.
peace. All
All
right.
right,
all right, peace,
peace out.
OG.
Peace out, y'all.